and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday, the 11th of June, 2011. It's our second part of our E3 special. Joining me today, I'm Dan Train, by the way. Joining me today is Zachary Burgess, yet again, with his sheet of paper.
I've got literal notes because I had to print them out because I had to come to a place where my computer isn't.
And Robert Kemp.
I haven't got an interesting intro today.
Okay.
You had all that time while you're walking across the room to think of something.
I was too busy concentrating on the sneak.
You had a pretty good biscuit, though, to start off with.
Garibaldi!
Yeah, a pretty good biscuit.
Thanks to Naomi's suggestion. So we're all in one room, so you won't have to worry about all the technical issues we were having yesterday.
All the glitchy voices.
Not yesterday, Thursday.
Might as well have been.
So let's belch and get right to it.
Yes, let's continue where we left off.
Yes, so we were...
That one before you started recording wasn't enough.
Oh no, you did say.
I did direct him to do so,
you
so
said it.
It's fair enough. Right, we're in the middle of the Sony press conference.
Coming up to the important part. Or basically the next bit is the important part.
Right.
Where my note says, the NGP is PSVita. Yes, Kaz, what does Vita mean? Oh, life. Voice chat on a portable device, lol, party, and near.
Okay, I want to dive straight in here and say party. Right.
Well, they already had moves,
Well,
so I
no,
guess
no,
they
no.
were sort of committed to shit names.
Well, no.
What
This
is
is the
Party?
thing. Party already exists, and it's called Party on the Xbox. There's the party system, isn't there, where you can see what your friends are doing.
It's not just a thing called party.
Well, no, but it's like the lobby, isn't it? It's like you can have a chat lobby outside of the games, hosted through your live guide, and,
Which is cool. It's like all using Roger Wilco or TeamSpeak or Mumble on a
or
PC
something.
and it being separate from the game. So when the games go horribly wrong or whatever,
Yeah, you can still chat to each other and
Play
find
another
out
game.
what's going on or see what everyone's doing. You know, that's great. Nothing original about it. And to be fair, there's nothing wrong with it either. It's nice that they're doing it.
it's cool.
However, my big problem is, why the fuck isn't this on PlayStation 3? Why are they putting it on the PS Vita?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like voice chat on a portable device. What?
Oh, that'd be so funny if you were trying to play. I don't know. You do have voice chat on the PS3, but say you're playing Call of Duty with your friends on the PS3 and you want to switch to another game. You get out your PS Vita, start a party. That's the future, man. Yeah.
Really should already be in a party. If you're
But there isn't a cross-game party system
yes,
on the
but
PS3.
if you want to do voice chat in a party, you'd have it like running on your Vita, sitting next to you whilst you're playing the game on the PS3.
Yeah,
That'd be
and
your
then-
voice chat channel.
Yeah, and then there's a crucial moment in the game and the batteries run out on your PS Vita.
Probably
And,
the names, presumably.
Yeah, anyway, so...
So
Yeah,
that's dumb.
it's that I think that's a bit retarded.
And dumb names. Party and near.
Vita is a fine name.
Right,
Compared to some
fine.
other names,
Well, I don't
fine.
know. It doesn't really roll, does it? PS Vita.
Yeah, you
sounds
don't
a
call
bit
it that.
crap.
You call it the PSV.
PSV sounds alright.
It's okay.
actually, Yeah.
PS Vita,
Like,
PSV.
at least
Or,
PlayStation
alternatively,
Portable
if
makes
we're
it.
extremely lazy, you just continue calling it the NGP. Because that's also three letters that sound okay in a row.
Well, it's not like no one continued calling the Wii the Revolution.
I mean, it's kind of interesting that
wanted to.
they've broken with their tradition of not bothering with names, because, it could easily have been the PSP2,
which would have been fine.
following the tradition of the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3.
Or think up another
Well,
word
I
that
think
also
that-
means portable.
I think I'd have preferred PSP2. In fact, I wouldn't have minded if they just skipped to PSP3 to bring it in line with PlayStation 3. It doesn't make sense, I know, but it wouldn't. But I wouldn't have cared so much.
Yeah, but then when the PS4 comes out next year,
Then they'd make PSP4.
that's not going to happen.
And PS3 is not going to. PS4 is not going to come out next year.
No, but it'll be announced possibly next year or the next year.
I don't think it will. At this point, I'm
the
starting to
Xbox
suspect
will.
they won't.
Well, it's nowhere near the
'Cause it's
10-year
like-
plan.
It's like the only reason that everyone was saying that was going to happen is like due to Nintendo's announcement. The other companies be oh shit, but it's like what Nintendo's announced is not actually more powerful than the PS3.
No,
and
they can't.
360.
Okay, we'll get to that, won't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It won't be next year. But anyway, so what do you think of the PS Vita as a platform?
Well, this was the thing. Looking
Yeah,
at it,
it's-
I couldn't help but think. When I first heard about it,
The funny, it doesn't actually say anything about PSV.
Near. I want to know what that near thing.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's just like
what is near
What is
again?
near?
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't write anything down apart from the word.
That's what I thought was
Yeah.
weird.
But it's something
it was like
about
a social network.
yeah. It was something. It was like Street Pass or
Oh,
something.
okay,
I
fair
guess
enough.
probably.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
It makes sense.
What did you think it meant?
Yeah.
Because you're near. Oh, was it spelled like near? Because
Yes,
for some
it
reason,
spelled like near.
For some reason in my head, I've got the NIER.
Yeah, but that's a
spelling.
game.
Yeah, I know.
Is it?
Like yeah.
That Yahtzee did a review of and took the piss out of it for being near.
Near. Yeah. Anyway, for some reason I had that in my head. But okay, near actually makes sense as like a Street Fast social network name.
Yes, and it continues their non-name naming convention.
I have to admit,
Move Party and near.
when I first saw PS Vita, I didn't quite know why it needed to exist, if you know what I mean. I thought the PSP was still plenty powerful.
But no one liked it.
Well, no, the problem is, right, PSP has the problem of being actually a great piece of hardware. Still a great piece of hardware.
Yeah.
But with
I bought it on launch before it even came out in Britain. I got an import because it was just so cool. I'd never seen something with a screen like that. Nowadays, I mean,
the
phones
screen
have
is
amazing
dated
screens,
now, but it's still pretty good.
But just as a device, it was just so awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, and the fact that when when you factor in when they did it and how it stands up today as a device, it's not bad by any means.
I mean, the problem with the PSP is I bought a load of really great launch games like Wipeout, Lumines, Ridge Racer. That's my favourite version of Ridge Racer. Played them to death, and then nothing came out.
Yeah, that was the problem. PSP has terrible software support.
And then it got hacked.
And also they seem to...
Yeah, it got hacked, and then piracy became rampant, and then everyone said, oh, well, this is our excuse to not make PSP games.
And I don't think Sony quite grasped the concept of what mobile gaming is about. They wanted to bring big screen entertainment to the handheld screen. And my opinion remains unchanged on it. To a certain extent, I get it in that, there is something cool about that from a concept. But you just don't play games like that in a mobile domain. You play quick pick up and play style things or things.
Yeah.
I tend to play more less actiony type things and more strategic type things when I'm on a mobile device.
Yeah.
However, I now know why I sort of think that in part. Because I've grown up.
Yeah.
If I was a kid, one of those would be outstanding.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Because the rents could watch whatever they want on TV, and I could run up to my room and play whatever I wanted on my PSP device. Now, probably that's also probably gone out the window a little bit because kids would probably have their consoles in their room rather than attached to the living room TV in some circumstances.
Wii U, but we're coming to that.
But yeah, let's not skip ahead, Zach. Man, God.
Yeah, I know.
I see exactly what you're saying.
I think it would have. I think the PSP as a device would have been much more appealing to me 15 years ago.
Because imagine that right now, PS Vita.
15 years ago, it would have only had to have competed with the Game Gear. So,
all your friends are playing Pokemon on their DS. You're 10 years old. You have the latest amazing-looking FIFA game on PS Vita. You'd be like,
wow.
And it's not that expensive, is it?
They wouldn't like it because it's Pokemon. You pick the bad game to compare it against football against Pokemon because Pokemon is like an obsessive collecting game.
Well, no, the thing to remember at this point is it may not sound expensive at this point, but it's still like what €399.
Yeah, those prices were bastards, weren't they? Because it's like $299 and €299,
which is a bad exchange rate.
But how much?
And then it gets even worse when you convert it into pounds.
Yeah, pounds will probably still be £299. You're still talking £300 for a handheld.
How much is the 3DS again?
About 200 and something.
About the same, basically.
Yeah.
They sort
Nearly
of
the
price
same.
matched it.
Yeah, and it's
because they had to.
Let's face it, it's considerably more powerful.
Yeah,
but it doesn't have that 3D gimmick.
And then, of course, the 3G version of the Vita more expensive.
Yeah, but parents aren't going to buy the kids the 3G version.
And that of course, there was the groan in the hall as soon as they announced AT&T.
Oh, that was incredible. It's like, we've got 3G support, and we'll be partnering with one of the fastest US networks, AT&T. Oh!
Yeah, I know. That only matters in America, though.
Yeah, but what are we going to get? Orange?
O2. Almost certainly O2.
Why?
Because they're the strongest network by far.
Are they?
Well, who has Sony partnered with before for the phone?
They aren't.
Oh, no, Sony do that. Sony Ericsson, so they have their own one.
That's for the phone.
Yeah, but that's what I meant. They don't partner with anything for
No, they don't.
And they haven't partnered for any phones up to now.
They don't do exclusivity for networks.
So now they will, presumably.
Yeah, probably.
But for which one?
Who knows? Well,
I would wager O2 because the signal strength and speed and all that is supposedly a lot better on O2.
I don't know. I'm on O2, and it's pretty. I couldn't even talk to you earlier on today, but then that's because we're in the middle of Suffolk.
You're in Elmswell.
Yeah. Okay. But O2 was the exclusive partner for the iPhone when it first came out in Britain, so it might be a similar thing. But anyway,
plus they're just in general the most profitable network in this country. They're a lot bigger commercially than the others.
What, than Vodafone?
Yeah.
Or Orange, or
just all of them.
T-Mobile.
They're the biggest of the lot. Well, because T-Mobile
T-Mobile
and Orange
has an American version, so...
Well, and T-Mobile and Orange are technically relatively small.
What happened to Vodafone? That was always the biggest.
It's big business in the business sector,
not
big in the commercial sector.
Oh, okay. Anyway, computer games.
Yeah.
PS Vita, yeah. I mean, I can't help but be a little bit excited looking at that Wipeout game and just being like, Wipeout Pure was so cool, but I'm going to be fooled into making the exact same mistake I made with the PSP.
Yeah, this is my problem, is that I admitted, at first I got to admit, I had my same feelings about PS Vita as I had about PSP. And then I watched it, and then slowly but surely, they've won me over. Because when you think about it, it can do, in theory, everything I want a mobile device to do. Because of and the key is the touchscreen.
Yeah.
Because of that, it could do everything an iPhone can do for gaming, but better.
Yeah. Because
of its ability. I don't give a shit about the rear touchscreen. I think it's a bit of a gimmick feature, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just something they've added.
It sort of makes a bit of sense to, like, mod nation racers to be able to push mountains out of the ground using the rear touchscreen and push them back in using the front touchscreen. But I don't think it was necessary to do.
But the touchscreen gives it more control options than an actual console, as well as having all the normal control options. Dual analog.
The great example for that was the Uncharted demo, which actually showed up. I looked at that and thought, which I looked at that. I thought actually they've made the touchscreen work.
But the weird thing they have, it's just like, wow, you can stop controlling it normally and really awkwardly reach in front of you to push it.
No. I wasn't admittedly, I wasn't excited about the bits where you like draw a path for Drake to follow. I thought that was unnecessary. What I did like was the context-sensitive extra stuff that appeared as a button on the side of the screen, where your thumbs already pretty much are.
Well, the ones on the side were fine, but the ones on enemies.
Yeah, the ones on enemies I might have a bit more of a problem with.
That's a good idea to put them on the sides.
The sort of extra buttons down the side is pretty cool. Like the reload feature being actually on the gun you're holding, the gun HUD.
If only they'd been on the... they should have just been on the back touchscreen as well, because then that would be even more natural. It'd be harder to hit the right button, but once you got used to where they were...
I'm a little bit worried that the rear touchscreen is going to fall into one of those, you could accidentally push it quite easily if you're just stretching your hands out.
Well, presumably games that use it won't.
Or maybe it's actually a smaller area than we think of the back of the device.
No, it looks pretty big.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It might have sort of, how Halo has clench control or whatever.
Yeah,
it might have something like that to stop you accidentally triggering stuff. I think it seems like the game that's making the most interesting use of the touchscreen is Little Big Planet on the
that actually looked properly amazing.
That did look really cool.
Yeah,
didn't it?
Because I loved it's got all the additions that LBP2 has with touchscreen support. It's like you can't really go wrong there.
And
the bit I was did you remember the home screen they showed us? Actually, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but the home screen. How much of an iPhone rip is that?
I haven't seen that.
It's got like instead of...
Is it not cross-media bar? Have they dumped
No,
that?
It's not cross-media bar.
Sweet.
Instead of square icons, they're circular icons, arranged in a sort of hex pattern.
And there's not a lot you can do.
Well, no, but they scroll vertically with the same spot scroll indicator that the iPhone has. It's just don't get me wrong, Sony did an interesting thing with cross-media bar, and admittedly, I don't think it would have worked for touch quite so well.
No.
But at the same time, it's just... Shameless rip. You can do something more interesting.
Yeah, but at least
Hexagons isn't a shameless rip.
I mean,
it's just the way that the icons are laid out. It's not like they. It just looks too much like an iPhone.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks less like an iPhone than an Android.
Well, no, Android's quite. When you
that just has the grid of apps, just like a bloody iPhone. It has all the extra stuff.
Depends. Yeah, it's the thing. It's customizable. Android is so customizable as the thing, so your homepage probably isn't.
Yeah, but
grid
then
of
when
icons.
you get down to what am I going to do or what app am I going to launch, it's just a grid of a
Yeah, but this
swipeable
is,
grid of apps.
as far as I can tell, this is PS Vita's home screen. It's just the apps.
Right. Okay.
And it's
fair
like,
enough.
it looks like an iPhone. It's like Android, you could have had a Facebook tile or a big clock or an animated background with people flying from the sky. But you know what I mean? Android is quite... Well, both Android and iPhone are sort of quite... You can recognise them at an off. Whereas for me, this looks like an iPhone. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't look quite so distinctive.
Hmm.
And it's a... minor point. But I'm actually interested. I'll give it this. It's like it has got me interested in it all over again. But as you say, I'm on your. I agree with you in that it's going to be the big trick again. I don't trust Sony for software support. They've already let us down with Move quite badly. It's like, well, what can they do now? Hopefully, if they get on, if the sort of like the store concept, like a PSN store on PS Vita with casual games, like the same sort of stuff we see on the iPhone, starts turning up on PS Vita, then there might be enough of a broad scope for it to succeed in all marketplaces, not just sort of kids who have the time to play God of War on a handheld, and when they should be playing it on like a big screen PS3 version.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we can play Angry Birds.
Yeah, we can play. And I mean, I probably won't get one purely because I've just realised, just like you, and that as an adult, I'm not interested in mobile gaming beyond little casual games for phones.
No, I mean, I
That's the thing.
don't have the lifestyle where...
Yeah. I mean, I have an
it
hour
makes
commute
sense.
every day now, and I still would rather listen
really?
to podcasts and albums than I would play a PSP, because I need that time to kind of
that's
wind
interesting.
down.
I think I'd be more akin to wanting to do something like that if I had an hour or more sitting in one spot.
I might consider it, actually, after all. And one thing that did strike me, though, with all these conversions of Minecraft for phones and Minecraft for Kinect, that Minecraft for PS Vita would be sweet, because you've got dual analog control, so you've got pretty much the same, and also for the inventory stuff, you've got the touchscreen, so you don't have that problem that you do on sort of Kinect or whatever.
However that's going to work.
Yeah, and you could touch to, like, build stuff, you know, in the world, and then if it's synced with in the cloud with your, you know, and you could go back on your PC and continue playing that world, then you could keep building your thing while you're on the train. That would be so cool! I mean, not that that's announced or anything, but I mean, I think that would be the best form of Minecraft besides the obvious PC original.
We're probably skipping ahead a bit here, but they talked about Ruin.
Well, that was what came after Uncharted.
Oh, that's all right then.
The panting guy.
Yeah, one of the out of breath dudes. I can't help but think that this Ruin demo didn't exactly work very well.
Well, they didn't really show it.
For a start, it looked like a completely generic top-down dungeon brawler.
I said it's like Torchlight.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pretty much identical. Didn't graphically look that impressive. He seemed quite enthusiastic about it. He's like, look at this is great, isn't it?
When he wasn't panting.
And we're just like, this is just the same as everything we've seen before. But the idea of the demo was not really to show off Ruin, but it was to show off Cloud Save, which didn't work, as far as I could tell.
Well,
it's like he was playing on the PS Vita, got to a point in the game, saved it, and then when he loaded the game on PS3, which is in concept great, don't get me wrong, I love this idea. Steam made it brilliant with cloud setting saves and Torchlight's cloud saving. Fantastic. If they can do this through this system, I'm all for it. However, the demo didn't work. He went back to the start of the level that they were showing.
No. But that might be what it saved.
Well, I know, but it's a shit demo.
It did. I mean, if it doesn't save your literal position, it might have just been saving his inventory or whatever, like the stuff he's collected, and then he goes back to the start of the level. It might that might just be the depth of how far they saved, but it couldn't have showed it.
I just realised I'm drinking Dan's drink. I do apologise.
I was wondering where mine disappeared to, and then...
Yeah, I'll do a swap.
Thank you very much.
I'll do a swap.
Genius.
Okay, what's next?
What's next was, well, we're still in... This is all the PS Vita stuff, so we've already talked about some of it, but there was the Mod Nation Racers on Vita, which my note says, it's totally the same, and then the capitals it says, but it's not a remake, because the guy was so emphatic about it not being a remake.
This is a bit, I don't quite understand that. It's the same game again, isn't it?
And
just with Vita controls.
And then after he went on about it not being a remake forever, he then said at the end, it can also use all the tracks that have already been made and stored in the cloud.
Well, presumably there's new stuff that perhaps only this new version can do.
Yeah.
It would be awesome if the ones you can, if they're going for the 3-screen sort of theory, that the ones on Vita could be used on the PlayStation 3, and because that could be easily patched.
Oh yeah,
on the PlayStation 3 and perhaps PSP versions.
But yeah, so it's not a remake; it just uses all the old assets.
Yeah, Mod Nation Racers is just one of those frustrating games because I love the concept. Don't get me wrong; I think I actually believe it's well executed. But as a game, it's not that much fun.
Yeah,
it's like they've got all the creation stuff spot on, but the game itself is a bit uninspired.
And then we had Little Big Planet Vitas, we've already talked about. And then there's the Vita version of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which was weird. And for some reason, has the infamous guy, because he's totally a Street Fighter or Tekken character.
Yeah, that's pointless. I wish they'd stop doing that with fighting games. So what started that? Was it Soul Calibur having exclusive guys? No, it had Link and stuff.
Yeah, Soul Calibur 2 was probably the first that did that, yeah.
And it had, like, Spawn or something on the Xbox.
Which was shit.
Yeah.
Link on GameCube was awesome, though.
Yeah,
he was a great character.
Who was the PlayStation guy?
On PlayStation, which is actually quite a good choice, actually. That kind of still works.
But nowadays, it's just getting ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, the Star Wars edition of Soul Calibur 4 was the worst idea ever.
That's terrible.
And then they had to make that console exclusive as well, didn't they? Like Yoda for 360, Darth Vader for PlayStation, which I wouldn't have minded so much. Only we got the Apprentice on both versions, who was the most fucking unbalanced, shitty character they've ever made.
Well, you didn't really fight Darth Vader or Yoda enough to know if they were unbalanced.
You do get to fight them, but you fight the Apprentice more, and he's incredibly overpowered as the AI controllers. But anyway, Soul Calibur 5, yeah.
Yeah, and then right at the end, at the end of my notes, it just has the Vita prices. It's $2.49 for the normal version.
I've just loaded up.
Pretty nice.
I've just loaded up my notes, and it's like under Ruin, it says bit poo.
It's a good note.
People were predicting that the PS Vita would be really expensive.
Well, yeah, because of all the ridiculous technology. But then they had to price match it more or less to the 3DS.
I've got a couple of quotes from the Sony press conference that stood out for me. At one point, the guy couldn't quite pronounce cross-platform, and it sounded like he said crap cross-platform.
Okay.
And also, right at the end, I think Kaz said, the most completely entertainment package.
It's completely entertainment.
Although we haven't really talked about it much because they didn't show much, but holy shit, Wipeout 2048.
Yeah, but awesome. But Wipeout is always awesome.
Yeah, I know. But cloud saving and cross-platform play for PS Vita and PS3.
And I don't know why, but it just works so well on the PSP. I loved Pure. I thought it was great. And what was the sequel to that was good too, obviously.
Pulse.
Yeah, Pulse. And
Pulse was was a significant improvement.
Because Wipeout HD and stuff was basically those tracks, wasn't it? And just boosted into HD, and now you're miniaturizing that HD onto.
The other interesting thing is actually going back in time in the Wipeout.
Yeah, it's the first. It's the first races in the Wipeout, isn't it? Presumably.
Well, 2048 in the timeline of Wipeout will sit somewhere in the third between Wipeout 2047 and Wipeout 3.
Presumably 1 year after 2047.
What do you mean 2047? It was 2097, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was 2097, and it was released in 97, wasn't it, on the PlayStation?
Yeah.
So we're talking before.
Oh shit!
Before that.
Yeah. So it was like super scummy Wipeout then, basically.
I know. It didn't look significantly different.
This will just be this is just after Blur.
It's just like the cities.
Once they've advanced from cars into holograph.
I think all the cities are less futuristic and more. It's more like our current cities, but with Wipeout tracks in them, rather than the ridiculous sort of. I don't know, futuristic Fifth Element style cities that we've seen parts of.
It was nice.
Maybe there'll be some stupid track that goes like through the London Eye or something.
That'd be great. Something like that would be cool.
I'm sure there'll be stupid random real landmarks or something.
I'm sure
they can never resist.
I'm sure it'll be the most completely entertainment package.
I'm sure it will be.
Man, I like Wipeout. And for some reason I like it better on the mobile. I'm not sure why though.
I don't know, Wipeout HD just blew it out of the water. To be honest. Since that came out, I've not been able to play Pulse or Pure.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the problem is that Pulse changed the problem I have is that Pulse changed the way the craft feel quite significantly. But when I played it, I didn't notice this. And then I went back to Pure and can't play it because the handle is so weird now. It doesn't feel right anymore to play Pure because the Pulse feel is so natural. And then they used the Pulse feel on Wipeout HD, which is amazing. And it's like, I can't go backwards now.
Yeah.
So it's
like Mario Kart. It's like when I was awesome at Mario Kart on like the GBA and the DS. And if I try and go back and play those now, it's like, how the fuck was I any good at this? I can't do it at all.
Yeah, totally.
So that'll be sweet, but there's the danger that will be the only good game in the entire history of the console.
I'm not worried. I'll get it on PS3.
No,
I wonder if they'll start doing like a Steam Play thing.
I doubt it. They want money.
But that would be awesome to try and promote this idea, wouldn't it? So if you buy the game, you get it for all the consoles you have.
Unless that's what the PlayStation Suite will become, but I don't think they'll do that for first party stuff. They want money.
Well, maybe the PlayStation Suite was more designed for the compatibility with the Xperia Play style, which isn't going to be powerful enough, really.
No,
because Xperia Play is a weird one, isn't it? Because it's not really as powerful as PSP, is it? It's sort of.
I think it's about the same.
It's a sort of a strange mix, though, isn't it? Because so far, most of the stuff you can get on that is PlayStation 1 games.
Oh, is that right?
As far as I know.
Yeah.
I don't really know enough about it, to be honest. But
I thought it was an Android phone with a PSP emulator in it. I thought that was effectively what it was.
Kinda. It's
or
sort
virtualized rather than emulated. But yeah. Anyway, so that's the Vita stuff.
What that is pretty much the end of Sony.
Yeah.
We can just move straight on to Nintendo from there. Because they announced the prices and that was it.
Well, we're going to talk about this for a while, aren't we?
Yes.
Nintendo.
Great job, Jeremy.
Yeah, great job, Jerry.
So what have we got before?
So Nintendo started with live orchestra playing Zelda music.
Oh, unfortunately, I didn't make any notes on Nintendo because I've only got as far as Zelda.
Yeah, well, that's...
It's a shame that wasn't a little bit slicker than it was.
Yeah, and then they were like... And of course my emotion will come on and pretend to get item.
And the orchestra made a mistake.
Yeah, they played the wrong...
They did.
But they surprisingly did a good job of cutting straight from one to the other after they realised they made a mistake. I thought that was good. That was really... Because it's not really an orchestra thing to stop playing a piece of music you're playing and then immediately transition into a totally different sheet.
Bloody flutes and piccolos, they were shit. They started doing the fairy theme, didn't they? Or something in the middle of going... Instead of going...
Because they were going... Okay, anyway.
And then, while I'm not sure, people were saying maybe it was a constraint of time, but it was super annoying how the translator guy wasn't really translating, he was just saying the same things at the same time.
Well, no, he might have actually been translating, but, you know...
But they were just talking on top of each other.
Yeah.
I expect if you knew Japanese to be able to understand him, that would be super annoying.
Well, maybe they should have mic'd down Shigsy a little bit more while they were doing that.
I think it was okay. I saw that.
It was okay. It probably went a bit quicker than Sony's translating bits.
Well, that's because they weren't waiting.
Yeah.
They weren't waiting for the other guys to finish talking and then do the translation.
I gotta admit, the whole first half of the Ninty conference in general is pretty tedious. I didn't think it really was that great because they went on for ages about all the Zelda stuff right at the start.
Yeah,
they started with the Zelda 25th anniversary concerts.
Yeah, the music.
And they didn't actually say much about Skyward Sword though, other than that it's coming out.
That's what I've got. It's like Skyward Sword, Holiday on Wii, and a Golden Wii remote.
And that's it. That's all we know about
it. They didn't reveal anything new, which pretty much means I could. Other than Shigsy going, I've been playing this every day, and we're just sitting there going, "You're a bastard."
I wish we could play this every day.
And
I like what he was saying about him thinking the music was good. I mean, that's always good. If they come up with a new theme that's awesome, that's always good.
Just the other theme backwards.
Yeah, but it won't be, will it? That won't be the main theme.
But it is! They've already basically shown every video they show, that's what's playing in the background.
And they did say that was the theme for Skyward Sword.
Oh.
They specifically said.
Fair enough then.
But actually it sounds quite cool, doesn't it?
I mean, it sounds fine as a tune now, but it's just if you know that it's the other song backwards, it's just like, cheap.
It's a little bit, but I'm surprised it works at all.
Yeah. I guess they were kind of ingenious with how they pitched it.
Well, presumably the arrangement behind the main theme is what makes it work.
Yeah. It's the stuff that's not just those notes.
Yeah. But it's still pretty clever.
And then what came next in Nintendo's, they did their sort of. It was weird because it's like they go straight on to talk about the 3DS stuff, and there's 5 like 3DS titles they talk about. But just before they talk about them, they sort of did a montage video that sort of showed what all 5 of them were.
Oh, wait, hang on. Roll back a sec. We missed the news about Zelda 4 Swords.
Oh, I didn't care about that.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool that they're releasing what is actually quite a cool concept game for free.
Yeah, but the more important one that they're releasing for free is like Link's Awakening or whatever. The actually good one.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, but that's so old and Game Boy graphics.
Yeah, but it's coming through the 3DS
Through
store or
DSi,
whatever.
where...
It's a really good game. I'm not saying, but you should have played it already.
Well, yeah, but not people won't have.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I haven't, so...
Get it for free.
I actually thinking about it, that 4 Swords thing is actually a ploy to do with the Wii U, isn't it? Because it's getting people for free into the idea, of having multiple screens and stuff. You see what I mean?
Except not. Oh, we'll talk about
We'll
this
come to
later.
that.
We'll talk about this later, but yeah.
But yeah, so they did this like preview video of all 5 of their DS games, and the only good thing about it was just to appease the crowd was when as soon as Star Fox came out, and there was a video of like an army flying around, and then a little like Peppy comes up and goes, "Do a barrel roll," and everyone was like, "Woo, barrel roll!"
That was awesome. Actually, that was the most sort of interesting thing, yeah, because they made use of the Ninty set was weird because it both looked a bit cheap and a bit awesome at the same time.
Yeah, it had ridiculous amounts of like screen space.
Yeah, it's like bits of the screen that were modelled in real dimensions. The sticky out bits and stuff. They actually made sticky out bits in the presentation videos. However, of course, this all means like custom presentation videos, not actual gameplay. Boo.
Yeah. And then
apart from do a barrel roll, that's still cool.
So Star Fox is just the port of Star Fox 64, right?
With tilt control.
Yeah, great.
Although they did sort of expand on how the multiplayer has.
Oh yeah,
they've added sort of like video cam.
Because you really
while
want
you're
to
playing
see
it, you've got
people's
a mugshot of your competitors at all times that you can see.
So you can see if they're making like stupidly exaggerated faces
or concentration face.
Yeah.
How many tongues will there be sort of wandering about the mouth?
So that was the second one. The first one was Mario Kart 3DS, of course.
Which looks far too much like Mario Kart Wii.
Well,
Kart
what were you expecting?
Well, no, but most of the tracks they showed in the demonstration were ones that were new to Mario Kart Wii. The only differences were the ones that introduced hang gliding and underwater. Everything else, I think, was a pull from Mario Kart Wii.
I don't think there were that many that were...
There was the
one on the tree
treetop level that came up a lot.
Yeah, but then what other ones were actually directly?
I think a couple of the track levels were there. There was the mall one in there? I think I have a memory of that one being in there. Maybe not, actually.
So
I don't know. I wasn't overly impressed. It didn't show off. I mean, the only new thing is the kart is the hang gliding, which is stupid because they kind of did that in the Cube version with just flying through the air,
with the cannons. Yeah,
not real actual control. But
now it's going to be controlled,
which is cool.
It's just a minor gimmick. It's not a massive thing. The underwater is a bit stupid, if you ask me. I don't think that's.
How does that work? Well, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Did you drive slowly? Or...
You get a propeller appears on the back of your car. That's it.
Right. Okay.
It's nothing special.
Okay.
And it looks a bit shit as well. Actually, I thought graphically it didn't look particularly great, especially when they came out of the water.
Oh, I didn't really notice that transition.
Yeah, it was just horrible.
I wasn't paying attention.
Some super terrible droplet effect hits the screen. Presumably that's making use of the 3D at that point. But
yeah, maybe.
But it looked a bit crap from a 2D perspective.
The latest
and the kart creation.
Yeah.
Admittedly, that looks kind of interesting, but
everyone knows you never use the off-road because you're not, it's like if you're not on the track, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
The latest headline I saw on my phone is 8-player online multiplayer for that game.
Yeah,
you would hope.
I know.
Yeah, but Mario Kart multiplayer, 4 has been the max on the home console, isn't it?
No, we had 8.
We had online.
Oh, did it? Oh,
yeah.
Fair enough then.
Was that 8?
Oh,
I thought it was 12.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it went up to 12 actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So
it just seems like the more players, the better with Mario Kart.
Yeah, to be honest, because it was nice on the DS. The multiplayer actually worked quite well on the DS, but it was a shame it was only 4 people. So
yeah,
that is the bonus.
Yeah.
But still, Mario Kart is Mario Kart.
Yeah, and Star Fox is Star Fox.
Actually, this is pretty much mimicking my entire view of everything Nintendo does these days. Yawn, more of the same. It's like I often don't mind when there's a new release to a new franchise. Don't get me wrong, but Ninty are just sort of lazy. I mean, really lazy these days.
Well, the next thing up on the DS list was Super Mario 3D, or as you might call it, Super Mario Free 3D.
Well, this is the exception to the rule that I just made. It's
what? You were excited about this? It looks really shitty.
I agree.
It's like super zoomed in. You can't even see any of the level, and you're like, it's so slow.
I was excited when they just announced the name,
with the tail and everything,
and now I've seen it. It's just like, well, it's a bit like Galaxy, but small,
tiny,
and I'd rather just play Galaxy. Thanks.
I don't know. It's basically new Super Mario Brothers with an extra dimension. So it's not like full 3D control except for those odd sections. I think the majority of the game is going to be the 2D sections with an odd extra dimensional element.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the 3D sections they showed were not as many from the video as they showed the 2D sections. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I sort of almost prefer Mario in 2D.
I quite like it in 3D. Mario 64 is still one of my favourite games.
But the 2D, it's like it all seems far too zoomed in. That's just what I took away from it.
Yeah,
it's like Mario's huge.
Yeah, it was like little sections of little challenge, wasn't it, of 3D blocks moving around, a bit like the special stages in Galaxy and going way back to...
Yeah,
they had Tanuki jumping, didn't they? And,
they had what?
They had Tanuki jumping. Using the tail to keep yourself aloft. Except it sort of was animated like Yoshi's Wiggle now.
Well, it's falling rather than... Apparently it won't have the P boost flying.
Really? Oh. Well, I suppose that was a bit over...
That was a bit like skip the entire level.
Yeah.
Doorbell.
Oh, doorbell.
I knew doorbell was coming.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, here it comes.
No, right, but anyway.
Yeah.
But it seems like there was no like Babon Mountain style big landscape levels thing.
Well, you can't see anything.
No,
it was all like this
it's all
slanted downwards perspective.
At least with Galaxy, you've got the planets.
Worlds. Yeah.
So we'll have to see, because that actually disappointed me. I have to say, what I've seen of it. Who knows? It might be great, but I'm not as excited as I was.
No, exactly. And then came the fourth 3D thing in the list before Rob comes back. You better hurry up. Fourth 3D thing in the list was Kid Icarus Uprising.
Right.
The actual Kid Icarus game.
Tell me about that.
It was really a bizarre what they're actually right about it. Oh, I was trying to work out what the fuck sort of game it was, and what I put down here was it's a cross between Panzer Dragoon, Other M, and Final Fantasy.
Panzer Dragoon.
It has like the Panzer Dragoon sort of flying lock-on-ness.
Yeah.
It has the Other M sort of jumping around combat element.
Right.
And then Final Fantasy, because when it started, it was like some dude holding a sword and looking quite serious and like a devil or something, and then like Pit just appears. It's like, whoa, wait, total shift.
So it's Final Fantasy in tone.
Well, it looks like it's like the guy who it was showing just looked like a bloke, and then this tiny like weird looking angel guy appears. It's like, what? This is Kid Icarus? It's extremely strange.
Okay. Well, I mean, so what's the Other M mechanic? Because I didn't play that game.
Well, Other M was like... Well, I haven't played it either, so I don't know. But supposedly it was like it would be 2D most of the time.
Yeah.
And you'd be able
and then it went into first person sections of where you just stand still and shoot, right? Some
bits of first, but it was like supposedly the combat mechanic was more like you'd flip over things, and you'd be able to go around them as well in certain areas. It wasn't all 2D, but it was like locking and then like jumping around guys and like...
Oh, I see, because you'd locked onto them in a Metroid style.
Yeah.
So you're saying, okay, you're flying along like in Panzer Dragoon.
In some sections.
In some sections.
And then
it's other end sections. Oh, so it's not all happening at once.
No.
Okay.
Although possibly it might.
Okay. That sounds kind of cool. I like Panzer Dragoon, and...
Yeah, it depends how, like... how hardcore they get. I mean, the fact that the start of it looked really weird and totally out of place, like it was a Final Fantasy game, and then Pit comes in with his high-pitched voice. It was like, oh, okay, so maybe there is some element of, like, maybe this is actually quite a, serious game. It's not a kid's game.
Yeah.
Like, it could be actually...
Well, no, it could be a universal. I mean, Zelda is a universal, and it has serious themes and places. And so has, you could argue Final Fantasy it can be played by kids.
Yeah. But then terribly right at the end... It also turns out there's an AR card element to it. It's like, no, you ruined it.
Oh well, just shove that in there for good measure.
You can play a card game with like 3D AR cards that you put them together and then they poke each other.
I've heard that 3D Pokédex thing is actually quite
That's coming up.
fun.
We're not getting to that.
Because you can take a picture of yourself in a mirror and see yourself with your own Pokemon, which is clearly awesome.
So anyway. the last one on the 5 of 3DS, because Rob still isn't back, god damn it.
It doesn't matter, carry on.
He's not going to get to talk about this.
No, he won't.
There's Luigi's Mansion 2.
Right.
Which is I've labelled as, I guess it's a sequel.
Yep.
Don't need to change Luigi's Mansion. It was a fairly awesome game by itself.
It was
but
pretty
no
cool.
one liked it for some reason.
Well, people didn't like it because people didn't like the concept at the time of making slightly less massive productions and doing little fun games that... I mean, at the time there was no really little
and also,
cell phone games.
Because where was Mario? Because everyone wanted Mario for his
yeah,
game
but that was
first
the
game
whole
on the game.
point. That was the whole point. It's Luigi's game. Sod off Mario. It's
Yes,
Luigi.
but it was because it was
and
right
Egad
at the
and-
launch of GameCube.
Yeah,
And
I
everyone
know.
was it's like
Everyone
nowadays
wanted Mario
Nintendo
128,
you can't
didn't they?
launch anything without a Mario on it.
Why? What's the Mario on 3DS?
It's the Mario 3D thing.
Yeah, but it's not out.
Yeah, but it'll be out at pretty much the same time. It's like they've learned they can't just have Luigi by himself because apparently no one likes Luigi.
I like it. I think
I prefer Luigi. He's awesome.
Luigi's Mansion is cool, and now you've got you haven't got dual analog control on. That was the whole point, wasn't it, on the GameCube? So how does that work on the 3DS?
Well, presumably it will just be. I mean, it'll probably just be simplified because the way it worked on the GameCube was really annoying.
Right.
Where you had, because you were using the 2 sticks. I mean, obviously you looked around, but it wasn't. It was the same as sort of same situation as Metroid, where they'd invented a weird control system that wasn't just dual stick, obvious the usual way dual stick works.
Yeah.
And it was really weird. But then the actual mechanic, the important mechanic, I guess, was like once you got the vacuum on the Ghost, you had to like pull away the direction away from them on your second stick.
So maybe that'll be on the touch screen.
Yeah, it will probably just be some kind of maybe weird scribbling mechanic or something. I don't know.
Okay. And it'll have a lot more levels, mansions, and different kinds of
Supposedly.
ghosts and stuff. Because the first one was just quite a small game.
Well, I don't know. There was quite a lot to it in terms of like individual.
Did you have that
ghosts.
game?
I borrowed it for a while. I got some pay for it. I don't know. It was. Oh, you're finally back, are you?
He's got a great big lipstick smudge on his cheek.
How we roll.
From some lovely lady. Player?
Do you want to say anything about Luigi's Mansion 2 or Kid Icarus Uprising?
Not particularly.
Right.
Okay, good.
what's that?
That's what we
I
talked
know.
about.
Luigi's Mansion 2 looks shit. I have
Oh,
to say.
I want to play that.
I don't know. The problem is that half of what made the GameCube one work was the sort of lighting and the atmosphere that it created. This just looks really cartoony and a bit. Not that Luigi's nose isn't already quite cartoony, but you know what I mean. It's like it loses most of the lighting aesthetic, which was my personal favourite bit of the game. It's like the gameplay wasn't that great, but it was kind of original, and how it was the whole setting was very consistent. The whole game felt nice as a whole.
But maybe
now it just doesn't.
Maybe they weren't showing dark bits because you can't really show dark bits on a giant monitor wall.
It was like, I was thinking about those small games from the start of the GameCube, and it was like a AAA X-Blar game is now, wasn't it? But made by Nintendo.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was
I
like
guess.
a sort of
I suppose you're
a
right.
Braid or a what's the other one from this year with the black and white
Oh, Limbo.
Limbo or something like that.
And now there's another one like that, Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet.
That sounds kind of awesome, though.
It's basically
Anyway.
a Limbo rip, but
It's a shame that didn't work for Nintendo, the whole GameCube strategy, and they went all completely away from what I like.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yes.
More of that now.
Yeah, and then what came next in 3DS, I was just labelled as third-party stuff in a 3DS update.
woo.
Yeah, don't really care. Then there was Pokédex 3D, which I've labelled as, this is not a game, it's an AR shitter.
It's not a game.
Why are they making such a big deal of this?
I know, they were so... It was like, everyone cheered when they said Pokemon, and then it was like, oh.
We're talking about the Pokédex. It's basically a glorified database.
Yeah. They should have at least made a Pokemon Snap game to go with it.
All
Yeah.
which you could move around
exactly.
the gyroscope on the 3DS and take pictures of things.
But if they're going to have this ability of like take a picture of yourself and see yourself next to the Pokemon or whatever, they goddamn better get the scale right, because everyone's going to be super pissed if it doesn't actually match up. Because some of those Pokemon are fucking huge.
Yeah,
I suppose it depends. Oh no, they could do it, couldn't they? Because surely you must know how big the AR card is, and then.
Well, I meant for when it's like.
How's it going to put a gyrodose in a picture when you're standing in a building?
Well, it's not going to...
Wait, didn't they suggest that you couldn't do it with just an AR card, that you needed to collect
it's
the
like,
AR cards?
It is some kind of collection mechanic, like your version of the Pokédex only gets like 6 or whatever, and then you have to trade with other people by street passing or whatever.
So basically, you've made a database combined with bloody football stickers.
Yeah.
Like, how shit is this?
At least if they make a 3D model for every Pokemon
and then they'll have those in that.
Yeah, they'll remove that excuse for not making a 3D Pokemon game.
I guess. Maybe this is like...
Yeah, maybe
secretly this is like...
how can we leverage this work that we're doing in order to make...
In the meantime.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a great result if that's the case.
Yeah, actually, that does, in a way, show promise then, I guess. It's like, here's hope. Then again, they had a large library of Pokemon rendered from Pokemon Stadium.
In terrible quality.
Getting a bit old now. And there weren't...
There was a starting point, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway.
So that was the end of 3DS, which means it's time for Wii U!
Wait, hang on. Didn't they have a Pokemon Stadium game on Cube? Surely that must have been rendered a bit better.
That was a strange...
Yeah, but they weren't much better rendered.
weren't they?
That was weird, that thing. Anyway, so let's get on to it, shall we?
Yes.
So let's get the jokes out of the way first, shall we?
What did I write for Wii U?
Woo! And what are the other ones?
Woo!
We've got our Soldier Boy one. Wii U!
Crank that.
And the one on Reddit was, oh, Wii U, I look just like Buddy Holly. When you're right,
It's just... I hate the vowels.
But it's like
so many vowels.
Yeah, it's like I said, they kind of screwed up because they'd already used 2 I's in a row, which is 2 vowels in a row, and it's like, let's have 3!
I think...
Could they have called it Iwee?
Iwee. I think
just
they...
to have as many I's
Or
as possible.
Uwee.
I think they should have called
Iwee.
it... They should have called it Wii A-E-I-O-U.
Ayu.
A-E-I-O-U. Use up all the vowels, and there's none left for anybody else.
So what are you playing today?
Wii A-E-I-O-U.
I'm playing on my
Alright.
Yeah.
So,
pirate console of choice.
Did I write anything important about this? Well, I wrote play games on the controller screen.
You writ it good.
Yeah.
we know the so does everyone know the concept? Okay, just go, basically.
It's basically a classic controller with an enormous fucking screen in the middle.
Just
that also
like
has Wiimote capabilities apart from the pointer.
So it has the gyroscope, but not
it has
the
the
pointer.
gyroscope, it has the accelerometers, no pointer.
It also has a camera and a headphone jack and what else?
And I noted here,
Stylus.
Is there a console attached? Because they basically never showed the console.
They fucked up.
They fucked up real good.
But there is most definitely a console. It looks like a Wii and a 360 had a baby.
Yep.
Who was it that said that?
When?
I think it must have been on
just
joystick.
in general,
Yeah.
Someone said it.
Can't claim credit for that one, sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, the key point is all the processing is done on the base unit as always, and then
the image is sent.
Is sent to the screen with apparently 0 latency technology or something,
which is just bollocks.
Well,
there's no such thing as 0 latency. Shut the fuck up.
No, they could probably do an alright job.
Yeah. It'll have
it won't be 0 latency, no, but they can make it pretty good.
Yeah. So,
and it was suggested in later interviews with Reggie that the range is not going to be very far.
So you can't literally
go to another room.
You can't play the game you were playing on TV in bed by taking the controller upstairs.
No, unless your TV is directly below your bed, maybe.
That's actually starting to fail slightly harder than I initially thought. The bit that gets me about this, right? It's not only that it's properly ridiculous, because it is, and I'm not sure I understand it
yet.
But Sony at this point, I can't help but think Sony are just going pointing and laughing because they've done it already.
But that's the thing; they've done it, but nobody's used it.
Failed.
Yeah.
Well, no,
but Nintendo will make it work.
Nintendo will use it. by default.
Well, this is the thing. No, I don't think Sony are laughing because they'll look at, well, they are laughing because they'll look at Nintendo and go, oh, we can just do that. Oh, excellent. This is how we make technology we've already made and already installed in every PS3 and every PSP and make it work.
And PS Vita in future.
Yeah.
They tried doing it with their stupid rear-view mirror shit.
Well, no, the problem is that
PS Vita's even got the touchscreen.
Yeah, well, the problem is that Ninty haven't come up with something that Sony can't copy.
That's true.
Sony could do this with a firmware update for free for people that have bought PS3s and PS Vitas, and it's just like, oh, and they probably won't have the problem of only having to tether one to a console.
It's actually true.
And they do it via Wi-Fi, which means they could do it from your room or potentially using the over-the-internet functionality that they. PSP remote or whatever it's called. Is it remote?
Presumably, if they're calling things move and far.
Yeah.
But to be honest, from the point of view of a person who just wants to play cool games and isn't too worried about Nintendo's market position, that's awesome because they'll be encouraged to make awesome Crystal Chronicle style games.
You know what? It is actually because
break out my PSP.
Exactly. If Sony take this on board and go, you know what, we're not far from this.
Yeah.
And do it again. They could do them. Well, actually, we say this, but we know what would happen. They'll do it and then fail to support it, like they've done with Move.
No.
And it's like this is the problem. Sony have so much potential. They're like you, Zach. They have so much potential, but no idea how to use it. Like a brick.
I think this Wii U is quite interesting for us guys because I think we're quite unusual in having played and even recently gone back to Crystal Chronicles.
Except it can't do that, so
no. Well, the interesting thing is the fact that they said that there's only going to be one Wii Pad support. It's going to be called the Wii Pad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah.
No.
One Wii Pad per console?
Well, Joystick have said that, yeah. And Shigsy confirmed it by saying, well, if we wanted people to use more than one Wii Pad, we'd have figured out a way for people to use the 3DS with the console. And
How have you not figured that out?
And this was my initial thought when I saw Wii Pad. It was like, why haven't they done that? Surely that's a far better idea.
And easier. And cheaper.
The first thing...
I don't get it. I don't get why they need a whole new controller and a whole new console to do something they could have done on Wii.
Because apparently it's so difficult, supposedly.
Why? Well, admittedly, the video streaming thing is kind of the new bit of this. Is that
I doubt the DS has a data rate transmission capable to keep up.
They might not have the capability to do that. But for the majority of gaming purposes, they could do it via the download system that they had on GBA.
Yeah.
You know, the console could send the data to the DS to sync it with the game, and then you're laughing. The DS already has everything it needs to know.
I guess.
No need for streaming, apart from the actual gameplay data of what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's how it worked before. Why can't it work now?
Yeah.
I mean,
admittedly, you'd lose the instant switch, I guess, from being able to go, hello game on TV to hello game in my hands.
Yeah, but that was what the pad's for. So, you have one of those anyway because it comes with the console.
Yeah.
I think he's suggesting that the whole idea might be
potentially. I kind of get where they're coming from, but the whole instant switch from screen to hand is, as far as I'm concerned, the only benefit of Wii Pad. Everything else could have been done via a DS communication of some kind.
Well, the thing is, then you're getting into the situation where, because this is one of the interesting things about the Wii Pad is, unlike a Wiimote, it has full, proper console controls, dual analog sticks. You can play Assassin's Creed, you can play any 360 game using those controls, even if it doesn't use the screen at all. Whereas if you were trying to play Assassin's Creed on your TV with a 3DS,
maybe. But I said this about the 3DS. They should have had two sticks.
Well, yeah, we know that. They should have done. And that's where PS Vita does have that. So you could totally use a PS Vita, has all the controls of a DualShock, does it not?
Well, the thing is, all of this, all of their market, since 3DS was announced, everything Ninty does sound incredibly reactionary, rather than visionary, like they have been in the past. Like, 3D, let's make something that's 3D. Let's not make it, particularly an upgrade of any kind. Let's just make it 3D! And have
I don't know.
And, the fun pad, yeah, okay, improvement. But why not 2? That seems retarded that they didn't do that.
That seems like, to be honest, that seems like maybe the one big mistake of it. I think the 3D implementation is reasonable on the 3DS.
And it was, I don't know, the whole console doesn't seem like enough of a step up.
Yeah.
for it to have been considered.
Well, they're saying, I was reading the article today saying that they're worried about, not Nintendo, they're obviously not worried, but people are worried about brand awareness problems because apparently people are going up saying, there's normal consumers that don't know about games are thinking, I've got a DS. I'm not worried about 3D. I've seen those 3D films. I don't really like them, so I won't get a 3DS. And then they're going to buy the latest game, and the guy at the camp is saying, "Are you sure you can't put that? You can't put that in your DS?" He's saying, "Why not? Because it's a 3DS game." But I don't care about 3D. I just want to play the latest Mario game.
Yeah,
they're saying no, and the same thing's going to happen. I've got a Wii. Why can't I play this?
Yeah.
And you need a Wii U. You need
Wii U. No, I don't need to throw my hands up in the air and party.
Woo! I imagine that happening a lot with a lot of people who bought a Wii for Wii Fit or something, and then they realise that this awesome new version of Wii Fit has come out, and they're like, "Oh, I want to play this."
Well, the Wii U's meant to be backwards compatible, though.
Oh yeah, but you'll have to have bought the
new version. Of...
You know what I think. I think the Wii Pad should have been a separate device. Separate from a console. Perhaps that should have been what 3DS could have been.
But the whole thing about the Wii Pad is it has no processing power whatsoever.
No, but
that's what makes it different from an iPad.
No, but that's the thing. I think that idea is fundamentally flawed in that they could have ditched the whole new console idea, and perhaps the new handheld instead of 3DS should have been the Wii Pad.
And have it transmit video to the TV?
Who cares about the video bit? It's just that with the dual stick controls, with the things there, the touchscreen device... As a mobile gaming platform,
right.
Probably would have been the case, and then they could have focused on making DSs work with the Wii. You know,
but they're going out their way to say that this is nothing to do with mobile gaming.
But it sort of is, and is flawed at doing it as well, because it's mobile gaming in the sense that it's mobile gaming away from the telly is one of its key features. But but that worked badly, apparently.
You say away from the telly, that's true, but you can't walk out of the room
I know, but the telly. That's a flaw. It's like I wouldn't want to be restricted to the same room while I'm playing a game, and still probably annoying my parents as a kid with the sound up. And it's like, I've got to plug my headphones. Oh, but I don't want to put headphones in.
Yeah.
It's still going to be odd.
I think, a lot of people are having trouble sort of understanding the whole where they're coming from at all, and you can see that in the stock market.
The double 5% drop.
Yeah, the stock price of 5% drop,
and then 5% of that.
Yeah, it's interesting, but the analysts don't always know.
No, that's true. I mean,
I'd hesitate to not bet on Nintendo, but
the thing is, I can't. I struggle to get behind what they do now, both from the games they make and the hardware, because Wii doesn't appeal as much. The idea I think is sound for casual games, but they're just not coming up with software that to keep it alive.
I mean,
but you know what?
And all the great franchises they have, they're not doing anything with.
But you know what? Fuck all that, because we're going to end up getting it anyway, because Smash Brothers.
Well,
oh shit, these Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I know, I can bitch all I want, but Smash Brothers, holy shit. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. As someone who hates Smash Brothers and has never bought a Wii, I'm actually thinking that I might end up getting one of these, because I'm just thinking HD Mario or Zelda game with full proper console controls, whatever about the screen, and it's backwards compatible, and I can play all those occasional Wii games that...
You're making the assumption as well that a lot of new releases will actually take advantage of this scroll. I probably think that a lot of games will somehow want to stick with the motion control idea, which...
Well, fair enough. So I'll just get a Wiimote.
Yeah, but then you lose the point. You can't exactly use a Wiimote and a pad in one hand, and it's like, so you're losing the touchscreen functionality. I don't know. It's like there's a lot of options here, but I'm not entirely sure that the Wii Pad will be used all the time, because it's moving away from what the Wii is good at, and that is motion control.
But it's not as good as
But it's not a motion controller, really.
No.
Also, why have they gone for the stylus-style resistive touchscreen and not a capacitive touchscreen?
Because it's cheaper.
Yep.
Probably more hard-wearing.
Oh, fuckers.
Yeah, I think that the first thing I thought when I saw the Wii Pad, we kind of knew it was coming, but when you actually saw the shape of it and everything...
It looks a bit big.
And it looks big. The first thing I thought was, we already know that they don't care about Microsoft and Sony, and they do their own thing. But when I saw that, I thought they clearly care about competing with Apple.
I suppose.
Competing?
Aesthetic.
Not really competing with anything.
It kind of is, because they talked about having the internet on that thing in your front room, and that will be on your coffee table.
That's what Apple TV and iPad do.
That's what exactly. And there are already iPad games just announced that stream video to the Apple TV.
Did you hear about the funny sort of like takeover thing though? That on Live are already are going to support iPad as an input device for mouse controlled on Live games. So you can have on Live connected to your TV and then use the iPad as the mouse for it. So it's like, oh, actually, hang on, turn off the TV. You've just done what Nintendo have done. It's like another win.
Exactly, but there you go. I mean, it's more sort of friendly and less sort of sophisticated feeling a thing than an iPad or whatever. But the thing is that the fact that they've got
it's
the processing,
Fisher Price, but that's what they do
Fisher Price, but they're amazing Fisher Price. But the fact that the processing power is on the box means that they can, they can have graphics as good as a PS3 or 360. Whereas the iPad has the
PS
problem
Vita.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't get it. It's like PS Vita is like does that as well. If you want a mobile platform that does everything in the handheld, there you go.
Yeah, but that's how doing like an iPad, the PS Vita is doing all the processing on board, and therefore
I don't get why this is such an important difference. If the processing is all on the platform, who cares?
Not
the
gonna
end
be as
result
good as
of what
PS3,
I'm seeing
right?
and what I'm hearing, probably with less latency as well, because I still don't believe that no latency bullshit. And it's like if it's in my hand, all the processing is there. I'm getting probably the same experience, if not better, through PS Vita than I would through the less powerful than a 360 Wii U.
Well, arguably, it's roughly
It's
equivalent.
going to be equivalent of both. So
Yeah.
it's got to be.
I mean, that graphics demo with the bird looks pretty good. I mean, it's not going to look good in a couple of years.
Plus,
but right now,
the whole sort of like exactly the same argument falls flat when the screen is only 480 pixels high.
yeah, well, the screen is less than HD, obviously, but
It'll
that's
be
actually
like
true of an iPad.
It'd be like a relative dot pitch of the DS. Of the 3DS, I mean, so it's going to look fairly pixelated.
I think, but if they are trying to compete with Apple in that space of the coffee table, pick it up, use it for gaming, use it for internet while you're watching TV, then I think they have a problem with that touchscreen because it's not multi-touch and it's just not as, I must play with it as an iPad is.
Yeah.
And I think they've in the words of George W. Bush, they've misunderestimated us.
Misunderestimated.
You can't even say it.
They misunderestimated that. If they want to compete in that space, then I think they're going to have a tough time.
I don't know. I've got no problem with them going HD. That is great.
That's cool, obviously.
I really don't get the significance of this new controller. I just don't understand how it adds anything to the table, really.
5 player.
Wow. Couldn't they have done that with, like...
7-player on PS3, right?
That's just the other thing. We've talked about the GBA sort of thing before, and it's like, hang on. One of their major tech demos that they're really happy with is Pac-Man Versus in a new shell.
Yeah.
It's like, welcome to 10 years ago, you tits. It's
What are you talking about?
Pac-Man Versus. They had a demo
On what?
on the GameCube and GBA combo.
Oh, right.
One of the games they showed off basically had it was Wii-ified rather than Namco-ified.
It was like Mario and Toads.
Yeah, basically, where 3 players can
4.
Or 4 players, sorry, can see that that's the one step up.
Yeah, 5 player.
They've added a player. 4 players.
Oh, you mean Chase Me? Are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I did see that.
4 players can see the local area around them, so they have to coordinate their attack to locate where Mario or wherever the fuck his name is. Let's call him Pac-Man. Is about the level, while Pac-Man on the pad can see the entire level. This is exactly the same game as Pac-Man Versus, just with an extra player.
And it's a lot more like a traditional game.
Fine then.
Yeah, it's a lot more like a traditional game than all the Wii stuff with the motion control. I can't see that attracting people. I don't think they can replicate the success of the Wii. I think it's impossible. But it actually interests me more than a Wii. But I think that's a problem.
Need to replicate the success. They just need people to upgrade.
Yeah.
Who already have it.
But they won't.
Again, the problem I have, though, is that the core gamer demographic is going to be on Xbox and PS3 already. The new Wii, although it does make some strides towards perhaps enticing the core gamer, without, at the moment, what looks like a fairly shoddy... Well, we don't know any of the real software lineup, so that's probably a bit of a thing. But given Nintendo's recent laziness, I can't feel excited about it. It's with the exception of Smash Brothers, I can't honestly think what Nintendo could do at this stage that would entice me. It's like they'd have to bring back F-Zero, perhaps, and then I'd be a bit happier.
Actually, if it had 4 Wii pads instead of just one, for playing 4-player.
Oh yeah, but then they would be able to stream 4 different
that's the trouble.
high quality video streams.
But that
they didn't for like Crystal Chronicles. It was just
which is why it would have been better to have the processing on the device. You could have like 4 high quality streams of graphics on your device.
It's not a stream.
But not a stream, because it would be generated. And it's like, fail.
But that would actually finally make me a bit more interested in Smash Brothers if I could kind of, without all that zooming problems, if you could see your own view as well, or and not worry about everyone getting tiny and then getting really big when they all come close together.
Maybe. But anyway. HD should solve that to an extent.
If you couldn't see everyone, you wouldn't know where they were.
Yeah, but you'd have that on the TV as well. You could do this. Look up and look down. 10 down display. Anyway, it won't work. But yeah.
People do complain about the zooming thing.
What do they want to do with Smash Brothers on the Wii U then?
They didn't say anything.
Nothing.
What are they going to do with that?
Only that it's going to be made. That's all we know.
I mean, you can't say that Brawl did much with the Wiimote. It just said, get a GameCube controller and plug it in, which you won't be able to do with the Wii U.
You just use a Wii U controller. But then
we'd have to buy classic controllers. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, Nintendo prints money.
I don't think we even know if the classic controller works with the Wii U. We know the Wiimote does, and we know the Wii Pad does.
Oh, no, the Wiimote will, and classic controller will.
The classic controller will too.
Yeah,
okay.
Because the classic controller plugs into a Wiimote. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh god, that's a weird thing, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
how are we doing?
I don't know. It's a nightmare. The whole thing's a nightmare. It's like, as I say, the point I was making there is that they are making strides to attract the core demographic, and maybe in large families where they maybe only have a choice of one console to put under the telly because of budget constraints, perhaps they'd pick the Wii U, because now there's the chance that core games will come out on the Wii U and be okay.
Well, it has parity, I think, with technology for the time being.
Yeah. The problem is that they're not going to pull any of the existing demographic because they'll have an Xbox or a PS3.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like, so that element falls down, and it's.
I guess families that only have a Wii will suddenly be able to play nice looking games, but I don't know. They might as well just get a 360.
And the casual gaming market won't care.
Yeah. So
the casual gaming market is the family gaming market, really.
Yeah.
As long as one person in that family cares, they'll get an upgrade.
Yeah.
The kids will be demanding it.
Yeah.
So that Zelda little preview
Stevie
thing,
down the road.
That definitely reminded me of. Do you remember when they did that Zelda in a realistic style demo for the GameCube, and then everyone was really excited, and then it turned, and then they changed their mind and made Wind Waker.
Right.
Do you remember? And everyone was like, "No, it's Zelda. We wanted that awesome looking demo."
What reminded you of that?
The new demo, the HD Zelda. That's not a game yet. And what will probably happen is they'll ditch it and they'll make some crazy thing.
But they were already making Skyward Sword the Wind Waker-esque middle point.
That's true. And at least that I think, because that's obviously a Wii game, right?
Yeah.
But will that be released on the Wii U in a Twilight Princess style?
Doesn't need to be.
I don't think so.
If they can't do it at the same, if they can't release both at the same time, they won't, and it doesn't need to because it's backwards compatible.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't think that, because it will play on Wii U just fine. So it's not.
But it won't be HD.
No.
Anyway,
Well, the thing that I've heard that was really bad.
Well, maybe
it
it will be. Maybe it'll just be a simple resolution up.
Well, that's the bad thing. Another bad thing I heard about the Wii U is that the way they're emulating the Wii,
yeah,
it can't upscale.
Oh.
So they won't.
No.
But emulators on a PC can run normal Wii games in an upscale resolution, and they look awesome, even though nothing's been done to them physically.
That's so a shame. Probably one of my number one want.
They didn't do that on the Xbox either, though.
Yeah,
with the exception of Halo 2.
One of the number one things I want on the next generation Xbox and PlayStation, but the next generation Xbox, one number one things I want is a very easy patch make it easy for the developers to patch or just have it universal so that any backwards compatible 360 game can be run at 60 frames per second in 1080p, and make it easy for developers to make that happen, just like a PC game.
To be honest, this time the architecture is probably less likely to the architecture change is probably likely to be less dramatic.
Exactly.
Unless Microsoft suddenly goes, we're using the cell processor from now on.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, so the architecture change might be less of a problem, that they might be able to do that. Because it is basically a PC.
Because if they did that, that would be so cool. I could just put in Halo Reach, and instead of it being in 720p at 30 frames per second, suddenly it's in 1080p at 60 frames per second.
And admittedly, it's a PC with 3 dual-core CPUs in a weird configuration, but, it's closer than the other consoles.
How great would that be, though? Out of the box, all your games are better, instantly. Your Burnout, what's it called? Need for Speed Hot Pursuit suddenly runs at 60 instead of 30. And all the games from the whole catalogue of 360 are available to download from the cloud immediately. I mean, that would be just so cool. They wouldn't even have to have any new software.
Well, yeah, there's always some
Of course
risk
they
with
would.
that, because console optimizations are often timed to things like the actual machine's clock
I know.
speeds.
That's where they need to help the developers with it, and having some kind of optimization step
that was
up.
The problem is it would be like the Xbox original thing. There'd have to be a patch cycle where the emulation in 360 would have to know about the previous game and how to adjust itself to deal with it, which is why not all of the Xbox back catalogue was done, because Microsoft had to do it. The developers and the publishers don't want to do this because it doesn't make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All it will do is sell consoles, which doesn't make money for the developers.
The clock speed thing was that classic problem with when they ported Red Faction Guerrilla from console to PC. And then because clock speeds on PC can vary, it started running super fast on some people's PCs.
Yeah, that was
Which did make it comedy, but...
that was pretty funny.
I'm not saying this isn't a technical issue that is probably quite difficult to do, but
would
if
be
they
neat.
did it, that would be so sweet. Anyway, so that's my speculation.
The basic... What they could do at a basic level is enable it, but before it releases, they test as many games as possible and add them to a whitelist.
Yeah.
So the ones that just work out the box, they work. If they don't work because of optimizations, then they're not on the whitelist. They'll just come up with a message saying we can't get this to work, and then it's up to the developer if they want to patch it in.
Yeah.
Which will be unlikely, or if Microsoft can figure out a way of getting it to work. But the onus will be on Microsoft or the console manufacturer, shall we say, if Sony attempt to do it in the future to try and achieve that. And Sony obviously found it difficult because they were trying to do hardware emulation of... Well, it was hardware version of PS2, then software emulation of PS2, then no emulation of PS2. So it was obviously a hard enough problem that they couldn't do it right, or that there was no financial reason for them to carry on doing it.
But maybe this generation, maybe, it'd be so good.
It's not going to happen by PC.
I've got a PC.
I know, but that's what I mean. PCs are the only format.
I can't play Red Dead on a PC. Goddamn. Anyway,
but
maybe you can.
But you know what I mean.
Maybe there's a 360 emulator that works better well enough by now.
No.
God, no, there isn't.
But you know what I mean. PCs are the only format where you have any chance of that happening, and even that's not true for the really, really old stuff.
I still think it could happen, but who knows?
I mean, you get the upgrade cycle, that feeling on PC, though, don't you? It's like, oh, I've got a brand new PC. Let's see how all my stuff runs.
I know. Wouldn't that be great if that happened with the next console? But anyway, right. What are we on?
Well, there's not really much else that's actually important to say. They were doing the little bit of showing various like their weird tech demos of Wii U stuff only. They didn't even show them in the conference very much. And the only thing I took from that was pirate arrows.
It's just like a rhythm game, that,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's like pirate arrows coming at you.
Because you can't actually see the arrows coming at you, can you?
Yeah, you have. It's like Simon Says, sort of.
Yeah.
It's like it says where they're going to go and the rhythm they're going to go at, and then you have to do the motion.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And then you see the little things appear on the screen, but it almost wouldn't matter if you didn't, because you could just have an indicator saying, "Yep, you caught them."
So yeah, and then there's some other stuff. It's like Lego City Stories, Assassin's Creed, Battlefield 3, lol.
On the Wii U.
On the Wii U.
Yeah, because we're totally going to imagine that with the Wiimote.
Well, they have their
Wagging
Zapper
around.
thing, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
And that would look really funny when they were showing the upgraded Zapper, where it was like the normal Zapper with the remote, but then it had the screen stuck on it, which is sort of cool in a sort of...
That is cool.
Actually, that is the one thing that I sort of went, that's cool.
Silent Scope, bitch.
Out of the entire Nintendo lineup, pretty much, at the conference, that was the one thing that said, ooh, that's new.
Or you could do the classic, like, floating ammo display, only in real life, apart from it's a huge, chunky display.
Yeah, but then you'd have to look around to see the actual...
Yeah.
No, it's clear. It's blatantly a scope, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Imagine if Apple went into gaming and they could do that with the iPhone. because the iPhone's probably the right size for that kind of thing.
What to attach to
something?
gun.
Yeah, and
it's actually the shape of a scope.
And the Apple console, whatever it would be, ends up doing it. Do you see the other thing?
Be an expanded Apple TV, wouldn't it?
Did you see the other experiment that Real Racing 2 will do? The game is an iPad game, an iPad driving game where you tilt the controller to steer.
But it streams
but
to the Apple
it sends
TV.
a video stream to Apple TV, which gets displayed on your television, and then it can leave its screen to do other things.
That's cool.
So you're actually then using the iPad as a control.
tiny steering wheel.
I mean, it's
not that small.
It's basically Wii U in
iPad.
reverse, isn't it? It's the controller sending stuff to the TV, which is kind of bizarre.
I mean, it's not going to look anywhere near as good as a Wii U
true,
game,
but it's an interesting concept.
And I also thought it was interesting the fact that the making the video stream doesn't slow down the iPad game because it has a built-in hardware encoder for doing videos, for taking videos with your camera on your iPad. So it doesn't slow the game down any because that technology is already in there in the hardware.
Yeah,
just make use of it.
I mean,
send the stream.
That is quite clever design. That doesn't make me sort of excited about it, but it's clever design.
No, but I just think that's cool. Anyway, I won't be playing that. But still. You got any further thoughts on the Wii U?
Actually, a bit of me wishes the Apple did sort of wade into that.
Apparently not.
No, you're not allowed.
They won't. I don't think.
It's like...
I saw their keynote the other day, and they did an annoying Apple-style boast of like, "Oh yeah, Game Center has the most game users of all. We have 50 million subscribers in the first 6 months. Compare Xbox Live with only 30 million."
Right, and how many people actually play Game Center games?
Yeah, exactly. That's facetious saying that.
Yeah, there are 50 million people on Game Center because 50 million people have iPhones.
Exactly,
and it's like 30 million people have more people have iPhones than Xboxes. That's probably undeniable.
I think it's apples and oranges comparing Xbox Live to Game Center. I mean, they're similar in some ways.
Yeah, it has Chivos, but I don't think there aren't enough. It's not like everything on the iPhone needs to use it, and that's a problem because it's like you can't really connect. It's up to most, unless games embrace Game Center, which they have a choice of doing. It's you're having to switch frameworks and blah, and most of them don't have online multiplayer, which makes the whole point in the service kind of non-existent.
Yeah,
it's yeah.
But they're like, we're number one in the mobile gaming space, and it's like, no, if you wanted to do gaming, you'd have to actually be serious about it. And I don't think they will. I think they're ticking it on quite nicely with what they're doing.
Where I was going with why I wanted Apple to wade in on the console was maybe that idea is kind of Apple having a console is probably a bad idea. But I wish Apple would sort of open up the ability, like some sort of API for iPhone and iPad, so they could work with other pieces of technology. So, because one of the things that they demonstrated with WePad was the ability to sort of browse around sort of privately in a way, and then push what you're viewing to the main screen.
So you can look up your YouTube video on your little touchpad and then push it to the TV.
Without sort of having to show everyone your search. Or
because
like
they're watching the X Factor or whatever.
Or potential private details, and then push it up when you're ready. And it's like, that's alright, that's kind of cool. I wish I could do that with my iPhone to my Xbox.
Yeah.
Because I don't want an Apple TV. It doesn't make quite so much sense in this country as it does in America, because we don't have the infrastructure for...
They're alright, actually. I've seen one. I mean, we had one up in Manchester. If you jailbreak it and put, like, Plex on it, or...
I'd get Sky.
Then, yeah.
It's like, it may not be quite so on demand, but I get Sky. It's because it's better in this country, and it's like, but the box isn't powerful enough to handle live because it's Sky, and I won't be able to push stuff with my iPhone. I don't know. We're getting to the stage where convergence of technology is becoming more and more desired, and if it doesn't happen,
it's been desired for a while. It just hasn't worked well enough until now.
No, but yeah, we're now in the position where these things could happen. You know, technically, these things could happen. You know, there's no real technology holdbacks for any of this stuff anymore.
But we're starting to see this cloud stuff come in. Like, if you look at on Live, that's yet another layer of crazy abstraction. You don't even have the processing in your own home, let alone on your touchscreen device. That's going completely the other way.
That's been a long time dream for the internet creators.
Because it seems like my driving instructor was showing me his Android phone, and it seems like that a lot of apps on that do the processing in the cloud, which seems odd.
They do. Any of the Google apps do the same thing on iPhone, don't they? They'll send they'll collect the data and then ask for a response.
Yeah.
Which is fine if the mobile network works.
If you're not in Elmswell, as we were.
Well, actually, if you're not in most of Ipswich, which is, county town of Suffolk, mobile connection is rubbish.
Yeah. You pretty much,
Take note, AT&T. Take over the British market and sort of install a decent network, please.
Because I didn't know that was happening. That would put me off buying an Android phone until the future when connections are awesome.
Yeah. On a side note, Windows 8. Woo.
Woo.
I actually quite like the look of it.
Yeah.
I sort of always thought the idea behind the Windows 7 phone and tiles was a good one. And now that that's a main OS, that sounds like a great idea.
They're pretty cool. I can't see myself working with Visual Studio with that kind of environment, but there you go.
But no, as I say, I could see why it works, because it's sort of like it does what Microsoft always wants a PC to be, and that's the true. Do everything. A home PC should be the do everything device.
Yeah.
Entertainment, music, anything you want to do should be all on one device.
Yeah.
But the ability to make it coherent with your other devices is the big thing here. It's not just that connectivity is now possible through the cloud thanks to get all your stuff there, but now there's actually a consistency to it
in the UI.
Yeah,
between
not
the devices.
just in the usability. So Joe Bloggs, not really much of a computer savvy guy, can suddenly use it without having any prior knowledge of Windows. So the entry level is considerably lower.
Be interesting to see if they come up with some features similar to those I was just watching, like I was telling you about for the Mac OS. Because those were quite concrete. It looks nice and everything, but those were quite concrete features, like having that kind of built-in behind-the-scenes version control.
Yeah,
that kind of thing is actually cool.
I suppose
it's an actual feature.
Actually, thinking
about
it, I suppose a part of Windows 8. Maybe Windows 8 would work better when large touchscreens for your home PC become a possibility.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Oh, they have a slight problem there. Oh, because you just bought a 3D monitor. Now 3D and touchscreen is not going to work.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Games for 3D take the view that in-screen is better than out-of-screen, which is generally a good idea.
I don't know. I was playing, trying out your Portal 2 on... and that looked pretty cool, I have to say.
The vast majority is in-screen, though.
Yes, I guess it is, but I kept that's the problem, it was in screen. Yeah, you're right, absolutely.
Because it works better. And it's less of a strain on the brain when you get edge violations.
But I kept accidentally touching the monitor when I was trying to point out something in the world.
That happened.
Because you guys were right there and I was pointing, because obviously it's Portal, you end up pointing and saying, there's a portal up there. And then it's like, it's like hitting the window. It's like, oh, damn. There's a window there. Anyway, it was quite funny.
Be less retarded.
Yeah, cheers. I don't think I'd buy one of those monitors, but we'll have to see. Yeah. It was quite nice, but I don't think I would.
Refresh rate.
Because you're the only person who can see 120 Hz.
Oh, but it looks so nice. So nice.
Where are we? Did you have any other thoughts on Wii U? Because you got kind of cut off there.
By Rob's intermittent thoughts.
While I'm on the thought.
No, nothing else to say.
Okay.
And also, we're pretty much done with we're pretty much done with we're pretty much done with
and
E3. Which means I now can dramatically crush this piece of paper to signify it.
Can we talk about a couple of things we talked about last time?
Yes, if you want to do...
Corrections colour mode. Okay. I was saying about Ghost Recon Future Soldier, and I was saying I wasn't interested in it, and I'd seen previous previews. Well, I was listening to John Bob, and it seems like they've previewed it a few times over the course of its development, and at first it was really arcadey, and everyone had the same reaction of me, being fans of Graw, going, ugh! And I think what's happened is they've kept going back and changing the game and making it more tactical.
What was that noise? I think I needed another sample.
A-E-I-O-U.
So basically, the game they've showed at E3 is different from the one I've seen because they've gone, That's not what our fans want at all. So, but they're compromising their original vision at the same time. So it's turning more tactical, but coming from a point of view of crazy robot suits and active camouflage and drones and I don't know, and trying to go back, but it seems like it's getting into a bit of a mess in that respect. You see what I mean? So I think that's why I was confused last time, because I was like, oh, it's really arcadey, isn't it? And you were like, no. And I was like, oh, they've actually changed the game.
I'm still not entirely sure it will make my list.
No, I'm not too interested. Even now they're trying to tailor it more towards what I like, I'm still not interested. That was that. Battlefield 3, I actually went and looked up, outside of all the hyperbole and all the tank sequence and everything, I actually tried to see if there were any new features talked about.
Yeah.
And and you were saying it's a bit more like Bad Company, people are worried about and stuff. So yeah, so it's the rush mode from Bad Company is in it.
Yeah, this sort of assault.
It's basically it's assault mode. It's kind of like CP, I suppose, in TF, is it? Or more like...
Well, the push CPs, rather.
Yeah, push CPs, yeah. And I don't think that's a bad idea.
Well,
for some maps.
For some, as long as they're not all like that.
No, they won't be all like that. Conquest will still be the main mode. I'm convinced. It's got jets in it. It can't be... Do you know what I mean?
It could be.
No, I think it's
jets
unlikely.
Could still be doing bowling runs on your front as it's pushing forwards or whatever.
I'm pretty sure it'll be Conquest mode will be, or the classic Battlefield mode will be the main mode, with all the new tweaks. And the other thing was suppression.
Oh yeah, I guess we didn't mention that. We should have.
So yeah, there were 4 classes, and one is the support class and has the machine gun.
Yeah,
a heavy style, but more
like a machine gun.
Yeah, like a machine gun, and so you can actually suppress other, suppress the enemy without actually hitting them, and that'll restrict their movement and give them tunnel vision.
I don't think it's restricting movement. I think it's just view.
Is it just the view? It sounded like it was going to be more important than just a little throwaway thing.
Well, maybe it will slow them down slightly as well. Maybe, I don't know.
I quite like that idea. As long as, if you're suppressed, you can, make a call to other people and say, help me, get me out of this. You don't want to be stuck. You want to be able to say, I'm suppressed, kill that goddamn guy.
Well, then...
Airstrike that, spot that guy, airstrike him.
As awesome as it sounds like to have this sort of system in place of suppression of,
I think it sounds awesome.
Literal bullet, bullets go past your head is going to annoy you, and that should be a real thing even in the game. But it's not. It still doesn't matter in Battlefield, because it's like a guy sitting there, he has to be partially in the open to shoot, so he's just going to die at some point. You're not going to be suppressed for that long, because one of your other guys is going to walk up and shoot him.
It depends if your whole enemy team is there. If it's just one guy...
So if your whole enemy team is just sitting there laying down a continuous wall of fire...
No.
Yes,
I'm saying the support guy suppresses them, and then the assault guys attack them. It's tactics. It's how it works in Brothers in Arms.
I don't think it will ever happen for more than 2 seconds. And then just someone will move up and kill someone.
Well, no, I can't help but think that... I'm sort of on the side of the argument you put up there. I think it's almost a too powerful thing. Defense is often easier than attack. In a lot of games, and it's like, well, you're giving more defensive powers. Surely it's going to make attacking really, really hard.
Maybe.
I don't know. Just the way I play the way I think you play Battlefield,
unless it will work, because being a suppressor is kind of boring. Just sitting there going.
Well, yeah, there is that. But it's like I don't think there's any. The way most war games and Battlefield and Call of Duty is, though, it's like, if your bullets aren't hitting someone, you're doing it wrong. I mean, yes, there's this whole idea of, you get points for suppression or whatever, so at least you're not completely wasting your time just spraying bullets around, but it's not it's not an interesting thing to do, you're not really aiming, it's less skilled, you're not really...
Well, you have to decide when and where to do it, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess.
I think it's interesting. We'll see how they make it work, but I think it's cool.
I just don't think it will matter I don't think it will happen for a long enough time for it to matter.
No, maybe it won't change the game enough for it to be important.
The other thing I noticed was they have that if you spot an enemy squad commander, he has a star appear.
Oh yeah, they get highlighted.
So you know it's an enemy commander or someone of rank.
Squad leader.
So you kill them, because the advantage of killing squad leaders is you can't spawn. People spawn on squad leaders.
Which I guess is...
That's pretty useful, actually.
Which I guess is
helpful. They should have just had a different model for it rather than a big highlight.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But I guess that's helpful to relieve one of the concerns I saw on the Battlefield 3 forums of, like, spawn on anyone in your squad, because that was apparently a big problem in, like, Bad Company.
Right,
you could
yeah.
spawn on any squad member, so provided one of them was still alive, the whole squad would just reappear.
That's no good.
So
Yeah.
at least it's back to squad. But then on the other
leaders.
hand, the thing that I was thinking about that is, like, that's going to be really annoying for me, because I was always the squad leader, and I was actually always the one who was sort of hanging back and not getting shot so much. And then
good.
you guys would always spawn on me. But now I will have to. It's like, it's just reinforcing the fact that I want to stay out of the way more.
No, but that's your playstyle. I suppose.
That's fine. That's good for you.
A bit of me wonders if perhaps they should have enforced it a bit like how Broslayer does in Halo Reach, where you can spawn on any member of your team in that. You know, I'm not advocating spawn on any member part of this, but the fact that it was like you can't spawn because your teammate is in combat, more like the co-op mode.
Yeah, I guess.
If you're in a danger zone,
Maybe suppression could suppress spawning.
That would be good.
That would be way cool. That's a good idea. Because I've been thinking about ideas for Battlefield that they're blatantly not doing, and I was thinking about the El Alamein problem the other day.
Yeah.
And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if, I don't know how this would actually work, but say two tanks on either side attack each other in the desert,
Yeah.
or three maybe, and there's a tank battle going on, right?
Yeah.
The game detects that there is a tank battle happening. It then says tank battle, and it spawns everyone else who's dying in tanks on opposite side of the battle, and the battle becomes a big thing. And then you get more points for winning that battle than you would for just going off and finding a point that's no one's defending and taking it. Do you see what I mean? Because that's always the Battlefield problem. It's like, oh, maybe I'll defend this point, or maybe I'll just go over to that point that needs taking.
The
There's
backcapping.
blatantly no enemy. Yeah, the back capping. Now that needs fixing. That, and or maybe there's one guy there who's camping it or something, or you go over there and you take it down, and then there's an instant artillery strike which you have to wait for because it happens every time.
Yes,
Wouldn't it be cool if, like, oh shit, there's a tank battle happening here, make it big, or oh shit, there's a little infantry battle happening over this one street, make it big, you know, and then have these little battles within the overall game.
Wouldn't that just be solved by locking back caps? Because then it forces you into those sort of like choke points.
Yeah, but then you end up just going back and
problem-
forth over the same area of the map.
Works for TF.
Yeah, but not for Battlefield. It's a different game.
Well, the problem with backcapping, because they sort of tried to fix backcapping a bit in the Northern Strike in 2142, where they had caps that were locked unless you'd caught like the three other caps at the front line, like on that Titan assault level, not the Titan dockyards level, where you had to get all three of the Titan docks, and then it spawns the big APC thing, and then you move further into the island.
Yeah.
They had sort of tried to start thinking about trying to avoid backcapping.
Maybe they'll bring that thinking forward.
Yeah, you'd hope so. You'd hope so.
Yeah, I wouldn't think there's a problem with just locking out spawns that are too far behind.
Yeah,
so you can't do it. Or that certain ginormous turrets appear if you've got like enough strength. So if you move a few steps forward, maybe not one level back, but maybe 2 levels back becomes locked with giant, or maybe not locked, but really heavily defended.
But then you can't.
Automatically.
It stops cool things happening, like a strategic maneuver to take a helicopter and sneak behind enemy lines with an entire squad and completely change the dynamic of the battle thanks to the commander noticing something.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe, but the problem I have is it often spread the fight too large, so you spend more time moving than doing anything. That is Battlefield's key problem, is that you spend more time moving than fighting.
So that's why I'm saying if the game could detect where interesting things were happening and then put people there and then have them resolve and move to different places.
Players wouldn't like that because it means it's forcing them into scenarios they don't want to be in. For instance, if you wanted to do your strange strategic maneuver, it's put you into the big combat zone, so you can't do your strategic maneuver.
And I don't like being on the front line. That was my playstyle.
Yeah.
I never spawned at the forward one. I'd spawn one further back, and then if I wanted to get in, I was always picking off the sneaky buggers and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was what I did.
I guess you could ignore them if they were generated, like, choose where you spawn. I don't know how it would work. It's just an idea.
And speaking of putting people into
Maybe it
situations they
would
don't
highlight
want.
it as an extra spawn point rather than a sort of like a forced
Yeah,
spawn.
I mean, that makes sense.
But with extra incentive, like points or something, for you to join one of these.
You get an
battle
adrenaline
zones.
bonus if you spawn at this point.
Yeah, because the game's detected that's an interesting point in the game.
Maybe.
It's like an AI director,
Maybe
sort
not
of,
like
but for
points,
Battlefield.
but you get like a buff or something.
Something, yeah.
For the fight.
And you get little commendations and awards for winning what the game detects as individual battles happening on the battlefield.
You know what? I just had an idea. You know how Killzone has the concept of rolling objectives.
Yeah.
Is Battlefield, with its large-scale maps, actually quite a good contender for something like that? Perhaps not in the sense of like the classic ones, like how Killzone has. Oh, now just kill a certain amount of people. Now just have cut the stupid sort of more arcadey ones out, but sort of roll the game from being having unlocked points to locked points, like at certain periods of time. Perhaps so you go from an all-out, you can cap anywhere to certain points. Like is to say, oh, there's an event happening. Right at this point, everyone needs to focus on the event.
Dynamically generated objectives.
Yeah, like kind of. Yeah, so
That's
like
cool.
so rear capping suddenly becomes impossible because there's this big fight that everyone needs to pay attention to.
Right.
Or like something drops on it. Maybe it would make more sense for one of the future Battlefield games. Like they could orbital drop some item of importance into the level, and it's like fight for this fucker.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then it forces the game to change throughout the level. I think that was quite a good candidate for the Battlefield style of play. Apart from if that happened, the downside would be if that happened while you're in the middle of a strategic maneuver. Because it's like, right, I've just walked half an hour to sneakily win the game. Oh, now I've got to walk half an hour to get to this fucking event.
Yeah. It's the transitioning between those states is the problem.
Still, I think it could be quite entertaining.
And what was the other? Oh, yeah, the other thing I wanted to say about mechanics wise. So they were complaining about it on the forums again. Was the classic problem of Battlefield of like medics just running around rezzing everyone even when it's in a really bad position and like...
Oh, but they fixed that, didn't they?
Yeah, supposedly they've done this weird system now where like once you go down, when you get rezzed...
You have your pistol, like in...
Yeah, you get rezzed into sort of a last stand kind of state. And then like...
That's cool.
So you have your pistol and like you still shoot stuff and like maybe even move around to some extent, I'm not entirely sure. But then you can
decide,
like choose to like get up properly.
I accept this res, or you can say no, I want to die and spawn somewhere else, right?
Yeah, which is supposedly this weird system.
That's cool because I don't like the way... I like the idea of you're on the ground and you only have your pistol thing in Call of Duty, but I don't like the way it happens immediately. Like, and I can't tell if someone's dead in Call of Duty because I'm not experienced enough. It's like, I know, but I always think they're down and they always shoot me. And conversely, whenever I die in Call of Duty, I always think, oh, I'm dead. And I forget that I can still shoot for a bit.
Yeah.
If I haven't been shot in the head. Whereas with this, it'll be like, you're down. As soon as you kill someone, they're down. Well, provided you don't shoot them in the head and they're rezzable.
You mean they don't have an immediate last stand?
No, not immediately, until they get rest, and then they can, and while they're deciding whether or not to actually stand up.
The trouble with that is, like, the problem they were the problem that people were complaining about that they were sort of trying to solve by that was to stop medics just running around rezzing people in the middle of the battle when they should be fighting off the enemies and then rezzing everyone. But that's still going to happen, because it's like, if you're not rezzing them, they're not in pistol mode, so they're not shooting at the enemies.
Or perhaps there should be a res time, as in the medic can do something to get the guys to begin getting up. So they go into last stand mode immediately after res, but then they have to survive for a certain period of time as a last stand, or get dragged off by the medic to somewhere safe where they can get fully rezzed. You know, so you can't just go, bzz, 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 hello team. You have to go like, bzz, 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 and then they'll come back eventually, provided you've held them off for...
Yeah, but that's still the medics going for the res first, rather...
Because now
you could res and then have to drag them out of a dangerous area, for instance. So you could run to the middle of an area, get them alive so they can get their pistol out and start to defend, while the medic then drags them out of the battlefield. I just sort of... The visual of that looks pretty...
That would be cool.
Pretty cool.
The thing is with this, though, is that as a medic in Battlefield 3, you can't rely on assault classes to cover you while you're rezzing, because you are an assault class, and it's your responsibility to be fighting, as well as rezzing.
That's the problem. It's like the problem they're trying to solve was only caused because they compacted medic and assault into one class.
You kind of need support classes with you at that point to just be laying down some hella fire.
Yeah, suppression.
Yeah! Maybe this all works. Maybe there's an uncanny...
Maybe they know what they're doing, DICE, after all these years.
It's not going to solve the problem that people want them to solve.
We shall see.
Medics are still going to just run around and res everyone regardless of whether there's enemies there.
Well, they're going to get themselves
for
killed.
Points.
Yeah, I did that. I was res man.
Yeah, it's fun. And then you can shot people with your paddles.
And I was doing it properly.
Like.
I was fighting them off and then rezzing.
Yes, all very good. You probably got You probably got more points.
But the problem was it's not encouraged because people would bleed out, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but that's the problem with the whole system overall.
Maybe the player should have the choice of laying there as long as they want until they get rezzed, or make the timer quite long.
Yeah, I mean that would help.
Because the death timer was quite short, and if you didn't go to res them immediately, they'd be gone.
Yeah,
and also the difference between, and also the old Battlefield UI didn't really make it completely clear when they were fully dead. The difference of the UI between I'm still alive and can be rezzed and I'm dead was minute.
Now there'll be an actual animation, of course. You'll be able to tell that by whether they're ragdolled or whether they're still in an animation.
Well, they should have it just like a big UI indicator
probably.
would be good.
Cool.
Extra flashy.
But really, in order to solve this problem, they should have just straight ripped off Call of Duty. They should have just had a last stand mode that lasts for 30 seconds after you've been down, without having to have the medic have any involvement at that point.
Then you'd be shooting your pistol around for 30 seconds.
Yeah, but then you can cancel out of it.
Yeah, you can choose to die,
that's
can't you, in last stand?
Yeah.
So they should have just ripped that off in total, rather than...
Because Last Stand
having
2 in Black Ops lets you get rezzed by people. So it's like if you get last stand and survive, someone could come and help you. So it's a slightly different system, but actually, to be fair, I kind of last stand. I always choose that because I prefer it over the other perks, but in Black Ops, but it's still not much help because everyone in Black Ops is a bastard. Like you could be sitting there going, "Res plus, I'm right here." Yeah. Like, dude, turn around and res me, you asshole.
Because they just don't.
It's because they don't. That mechanic is quite obscure. It's not like one of the main classes of a medic.
You have a big indicator over someone. There's a UI indicator that pokes out over someone saying he can be rezzed, essentially. Well, it's not a massive indicator, but it's one of the Call of Duty little dots that appears when you see someone's corpse.
If you get
even if you're on the voice and you're saying "res me," or actually, that doesn't happen too much when people have your backs to you and they haven't noticed you need to be rezzed. I can sort of understand that. When guys are walking past you and you're sitting there going, "Can I have a res?" with an indicator. That's just
What's
you're an asshole.
What's the points? It's like, do you get points for rezzing the guy?
You get an experience thing.
Because in Battlefield, it's all about it's the point income of rezzing someone, and you're not losing the ticket because they don't fully die and knock off the ticket score.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, there's an experience thing in Call of Duty.
But is it more experience that would be saved by running towards the enemy further for 2 seconds rather than stopping to res that guy?
Well, it's probably guaranteed points as opposed to dying.
I guess.
So
I'm really excited for Battlefield 3, though.
As long as they don't screw it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got my usual trepidation because I kind of thought Bad Company would be good, and it's not what appealed at all.
Yeah, well, this isn't Bad Company; it's proper Battlefield. So,
but Battlefield, Bad Company's multiplayer was supposed to be proper Battlefield and wasn't.
Not really.
And this is taking from that to some extent, supposedly.
And Battlefield Modern Combat on the Xbox was supposed to be proper Battlefield for the
Well, that one's more excuse because it was like the first console Battlefield.
Yeah, and it was probably rubbish. In fairness, it had some cool features, but was actually quite bad. But I don't know. Battlefield is just one of those franchises that strikes me as risky.
I think it's going to be great. I can't wait.
I have more hope and more. I'm more hyped about Frostbite than I am about the game.
Really?
Above it.
What else are they going to do with it? Mirror's Edge or something?
Well, Need for Speed the Run is being run using Frostbite.
You're more excited about Need for Speed the Run than Battlefield 3?
I'm more excited about the engine.
Right, okay.
Because I'll admit, it looks fucking amazing graphically. So I think the engine might be DICE's strong point out of all this. Even if Battlefield 3 isn't as good as previous entries, then they've got something good coming out of it. Because Frostbite does look great.
You guys are cynical about Battlefield 3.
I am, yeah.
I think it's going to be cool.
I'm only cynical because I just like them to just re-release Battlefield 2. But I want Battlefield 2, but with 2142's...
I want 2143, make a new one of those, because that was my personal favourite. Not because of the future setting, but because the balance was really good.
Yeah, I don't want them to change any of the mechanics. That's why I'm cynical about Battlefield 3.
Was really good. My biggest problem with Battlefield 2143 was loading, unloading, connection issues, and the game was quite buggy.
Yeah.
It would crash a lot for me.
This won't be buggy. This will be polished, I think. The amount of money they're spending on it.
Final Fantasy 14, anyone?
Yeah, they're not Squeenix. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't sound like they're changing that much from Battlefield 2142, really.
They are. It's that Bad Company influence. Not that I've actually played Bad Company.
Yeah, you don't even know how bad.
Although lots of people in the IRC have complained about various aspects of that. Snipers being a pain in the arse, and
yeah, but they've nerfed the snipers.
Yeah, supposedly.
So that's okay.
But they always say that. They're always like, we've nerfed the snipers, so now they have to stay more still. And every time they do that, they never do it enough.
Well, I think they work quite well in TF2.
Yeah, but that's a really weird, totally weird system where it's like you have to stand still for ages because it charges up your shot.
Yeah,
I never liked that.
I did.
Well, it's good when I'm not
do.
good when I'm not. I like it when I'm not a sniper.
I quite like
when I'm a sniper, I don't like the charge.
It's quite fun.
The charge is irritating, or at least it shouldn't be quite so long. Oh, but I don't know. As I say,
I think
it's one of those awkward balances things. But
I'm a big fan of that implementation, or even though it doesn't make sense in a real world game.
It makes no sense.
Well, it works perfectly fine.
It works in TF2, but in Battlefield it would be weird.
Yeah,
but still,
the problem is it just means you're standing longer without doing anything. That's all it does.
It's not all it does, though. It's there for a reason.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just when you're playing a sniper, it's an enormous irritation more than anything else. As I say, playing against the sniper, it's great because it means you can't just get body shot for tons and tons of fucking damage all the time. But it's
when you're playing a sniper,
it reduces sniper annoyance significantly as an against it. But playing as, it's just extra annoying.
When you can still kill a heavy instantly with a headshot, even without the charge. So
no, you can't.
Not even close.
It does 150 damage. The heavy has 300 health.
Oh, okay, 2 headshots.
Very quick.
If you're a good sniper, you can do that.
Not very much often.
It's difficult.
And not if he's being healed at all.
No, not if he's being healed. No.
If you're fucked in that scenario. It has to be a fully charged headshot.
But then that's sort of why that works in Team Fortress, because it reduces the amount of Twitch gameplay. You're lining up your shot during the time it's charging, and then when you take it, it is an instant kill.
True. I mean, I find it irritating because of the counter snipe stuff.
Well, yeah, that is
because it means you're standing out in the open, and if you're focusing on, taking down a target like a heavy, you're a complete counter snipe target.
But then that's balancing itself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Balancing each other, each standing there on opposite sides of 2-4 all day, shooting each other like idiots. Oh. So
I don't know. It makes them too vulnerable to everything else.
So should we move on? Battlefield 3, I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. What else we got to talk about?
Nothing out of E3. Done.
Shall I say those little corrections from before E3?
Oh, I thought. Well, yeah, you were going through corrections when we talked about Battlefield. I
just wanted to say that. Not that it matters, but we were talking about Deus Ex Human Revolution, and we were saying about the 2-tier city being Hong Kong and stuff, and that we've been in Hong Kong. In the previous Deus Ex, it didn't have 2 tiers. Well, the answer is that it's not Hong Kong; it's Shanghai. In Deus Ex 3, that has 2 tiers. So there's no Hong Kong in Deus Ex Human Revolution,
or is there?
Well, or is there? Yeah. And also, I was listening to a developer talking to the PC Gamer guys, and they were talking about it being 30 years in the future, and how technology might have moved on and stuff, and that they were doing research and looking at stuff that was in prototype stage now that would be in the future, like those foldable screens that they have.
Yeah.
And stuff. And the guy literally said, okay, we don't really believe that there will be a massive 2-tiered city in 30 years' time, but we just put that in because that's awesome. So it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. At least you're aware that we're not going to be there.
Even for some of the augmentation concepts, surely 30 years is...
Well, it's all the mechanical augmentations. It's not the nano stuff.
Except for when it sort of is. Doesn't he still have He still has, like, the anti-projectile field or something, doesn't he?
Don't know what all the augs are.
He has that weird soft fall. Like,
yeah, he does. Yeah.
What's that if it's not nano?
I don't know what that is. Yeah, but it's definitely supposed to be pre-Deus Ex.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Gunter, his mechanical augs,
or Anna Navarra. Yeah, but cooler.
Yeah, obviously.
And the PC Gamer goes to say, like, you get a lot of conversation options at the start, which is like you can choose whether you're against augmentation or for it. It's like, oh no, I've been forced. This mechanical armor's been forced on me, and it's all so terrible. And mechanical augmentation is bad. Or you can just say, "Fuck yeah, I have an awesome robot arm." He was just choosing that every time. Augmentations are sweet. So yeah, that game's gonna be cool too. Black and gold.
Let's hope.
Cool.
It is Squeenix after all.
Well, it's not developed in Japan. It's made in Montreal.
That was really distracting when I was trying to...
It's IDOS.
Yeah, but IDOS and Tomb Raider haven't exactly fallen in good stead recently.
I suppose.
And IDOS aren't even working on new Tomb Raider because of this, so it's like, I don't know.
Well, the PC gaming...
I would love it to be good. I would love it to be good. Don't get me wrong. I just... In the same vein as Battlefield 3, they've got history. It's...
Man, cynicism to the max, but yeah.
Well, they've got, you know, you got to be with those games these days, because there's not many franchises you can fully rely on anymore.
Man, there's a lot of negativity on this gaming podcast, though.
True. I mean, I'm like that nowadays. I'm a bit of a cynic. Maybe it's because I've played a lot of games recently that haven't lived up to expectations. Maybe it's rubbing off.
I'm having great fun in LA Noire, thinking this is the future and stuff. In many ways, although as I say, that's tempered by some issues and stuff. But it's just that it is. It's almost more visionary than a lot of stuff I've seen at E3, you know, and it's like I'm playing it right now.
Well, I think I'm getting cynical because a lot of the games I like aren't the ones that do well.
Yeah, that's sad. When that happens, it's sad.
You know, it's sitting right in front of us, so I can't help but not mention it. Even.
Oh, not again.
It's you know.
Yeah, but you liked Halo Reach, and that did all right.
So, yeah, but no. But this is precisely my point. There are a few franchises you can really rely on. Halo is one of them. Gears of War,
so far,
you know exactly where it's going.
Halo is one of them, apart from Halo Wars.
Well, no, yeah.
Apart from any developer other than Bungie doing Halo. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much a given. And it's like...
Which includes the next 3 Halo games. 4
I wasn't mentioning those.
Yeah, okay.
I hadn't got
But you're saying Halo is
because I said that in the last podcast, that there was trepidation because it's not Bungie.
Yeah.
But, you know, up till now, Halo has been one of those franchises you can say, fuck yeah, this is going to be amazing. Gears is the same. It's going to, fuck yeah, this is going to be Gears.
I love every Grand Theft Auto. That's me.
Call of Duty for the fans, I can imagine, yeah, that's pretty much something you can rely on. Fuck yeah, it's going to be Call of Duty. Same with Forza. But there are quite a few out there which is like, no, Need for Speed is a good one. Franchise has been around for a long time, incredibly up-down. Deus Ex and IDOS and Tomb Raider all fall into that category of being, it could be shit, it could be great.
Yeah.
And that's a bit unfortunate. Squeenix, with their own games, fall into that category quite badly. Personally, Nintendo are now in that category because they don't do enough to change it.
What about BioWare in the Mass Effect series? That's dependable.
BioWare as a company?
No, okay, but...
No, BioWare as a company, yeah, they're a bit flaky.
Well, you haven't played a lot of their other games, I wouldn't say. Have you?
No, that's true. I haven't played them myself, but they get a bad rep from time to time. But Mass Effect as a series, yeah, you pretty much know that's going to be great.
Yeah. Mass Effect 3 is going to be great. We didn't learn anything from E3 about it, and I don't really mind.
No.
Because it's going to be great.
Sonic? You know that's not going to be great. Well, you know it's now it's in the flux. Before we could have pretty much guaranteed it was going to be shit, but now it's.
You're thinking about will Generations be good? Will it be like Sonic Colors, or will it be terrible?
Now it's in the flux.
We just don't know.
So that's interesting.
Let's stop going through franchises, shall we? There's probably quite a few.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to back up my point here that IDOS and are one of those iffy developers.
Well, that's another one I'm dead excited about. I can't say I have more, as you say, trepidation about Deus Ex 3 than I do about Battlefield 3 because Deus Ex 2 was not good and it's been a long time. And
it's more important for Deus Ex because it's story and RPG. It's a lot more complicated than just a first-person shooter.
I was about to say, what was the back... I mean, who
I don't know what happened with
Deus Ex 2?
I don't know what happened with that. I think it was part of the original team, wasn't it? But it was Ironstorm originally, wasn't it? But it was Ironstorm Austin or something, wasn't it? Or it wasn't John Romero's lot doing Deus Ex. It was Warren Spector, right?
Yeah, something happened.
Warren, am I saying the right name?
Can't remember.
Yeah, it is Warren Spector. I get him confused with Warren Ellis, the comic book writer who did the story for Hostile Waters. Yeah.
Here's a question. Did we see much of Rage at E3? I mean, it came up in a trailer.
I did see a short... I caught a little bit of a demo between one of the conferences on that live stream. There was someone doing a demo of it. Which was pretty funny because he was like... he said something stupid like, "It's not just a first-person shooter, and we don't want it to be just going through corridors or whatever." And the entire demo was just walk forwards until you get to some enemies, shoot them, then look for the power source for this gate, shoot that, gate goes down, and oh look, there's another gate. It's like the same thing over and over as he was saying this.
Collect the blue key for the blue door.
Yeah, exactly.
They make a joke about that in Duke Nukem.
I'm sure they do.
Right at the start, it's like, you need the red key card. I don't need no fucking key card.
Oh, that's funny.
We could probably talk about that. I've seen the first half an hour of Duke Nukem Forever, and I think a lot of the reviews that are out about it, which basically slam it, kind of miss the point. It's like, a bit of me can't help but think it's supposed to be cheesy and backwards and a bit crap in places. I think they're expecting more than what it is. Like, the expectation is a lot higher than what they got. Because I can't help but think, well, it's just going to be a bit like Serious Sam in a lot of ways, but without perhaps some of the game focus on mass hordes the entire time.
Yeah.
But with just, comedy, self-referential, and sort of be a bit satirical against the FPS genre. And from what I've seen so far, it does exactly that. It's like, it's not breaking any boundaries. The gameplay isn't amazing. In fact, from what I've seen, actually, the combat looks a bit shit. But I probably wouldn't play it for that. I'd play it for the comedy value and the, just the sheer, the epicness of it.
I still think that it's got a big problem called Bulletstorm in the current market. Wouldn't you agree?
It's not looking for a market. It's just like people from 10 years ago who want to see what the fuck's going on. That's its own market. There's no competition in that market.
I suppose. I just think if you want comedy, ridiculous, over the top FPS with satirical elements.
Well, true, but Duke Nukem can reference itself.
That's true.
And it does a lot.
Okay.
And it's pretty funny. Like, at the start of the game is basically Duke playing Duke Nukem Forever. And
it's like, it's a bad time. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're having a good game, Duke, after 12 fucking years. I don't expect so. That's pretty cool. And there's a pool table, which you can knock the balls about on.
Like in Deus Ex! I wonder if they'll put that in Deus Ex Human
Duke Nukem did it first, man. Just making the point there.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Tell you what would be cool for an awesome... This is just a totally random thought, but I'll tell you what would be cool for an awesome futuristic pool table would be like a pool sphere where all the balls are on the inside of the sphere, and then you have to get them into holes that make the balls come out of the sphere.
What would stop them from falling to the bottom?
It's a hologram.
Oh.
Wom, wom.
And you're like... And they're like... Whee! And they orbit around the inside of the sphere.
I think I have seen pool tables on YouTube where the surface is a screen and they have ripples and stuff.
Oh, cool.
When the balls go across them. That's kind of cool.
That'd be cooler if you could make ripples to shove the balls around as well.
That's pretty neat, actually.
Yeah, it's just a flat screen. It's not like tactile. It doesn't move the surface.
I'd be a bit afraid of breaking it, but presumably they could put like a heavy fixed surface on it.
Screen, glass. Thing.
Yeah, I think the
players would probably be a bit worried that it wouldn't have the... Oh yeah, because it'd have to have the felt.
Because otherwise you just go...
Yeah, that'd be disastrous. I'm pretty sure it was an actual screen, because thinking about it, you could just project with a projector from above, or you could do it from below. Maybe it was being done from below. Projected onto a special felt that's transparent.
So if you were cheap, you'd just get like white felt pool table and then just have a projector
above it.
It would have to have been done. Yeah, it's probably done above because I've seen pool assistance computers that work with a projection from above. So you lean onto the table with your cue, and then it gives you like pool game style dotted lines, so you can see predicted bounces.
But it wouldn't look as cool because then you'd get a little pool of shadow around each ball where it can't project onto.
Maybe, unless it knows where they are and then doesn't project and then projects black.
Yeah, but even if it did, you'd
spots.
still you wouldn't be able to see the ripples underneath the balls. You'd have a sort of a small circular patch
your view angle
underneath
is
the
not
balls
directly from above.
as they moved.
True,
yeah,
but it would be small.
That's true. Anyway,
Stu, that was a random off-topic
balls.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It makes no difference at all. It just looks awesome.
I haven't got any other corrections, I don't think. I bought something on Xbox Live Arcade called the Rockstar Pass.
Oh.
Okay.
Now, so we were already talking about how cool it would be if you could buy like a season ticket to an LA Noire
Ooh, is
episodes.
this what this is?
Pretty much. The thing is, I saw it and I immediately bought it because it was half price or something, and I thought, well, then, whatever the hell this is, I'm buying it because I love LA Noire. And it wasn't very expensive, but it did give me access to all the DLC so far and presumably in the future. I don't know how far it goes, but there have been, because what it's given me so far is new cases that integrate into the game, although they don't, presumably they don't matter with the overarching story. But I think they're mostly pre-order bonuses so far. So I just have all the pre-order bonuses at this point. But there will be new cases
When you
coming
say
out.
integrated in the game, do you have to play them at certain parts of the game, or are they like accessible at any time? Because I noticed that a few of the DLC ones are based on a certain desk.
Yeah, they are. So they're based on a desk, and if you play through the story, then they add them in to the flow. But you can go to the cases menu and just play them at any time.
Okay.
The thing is, I'm not sure if there was a case that was in a later desk like Arson, whether you could play it until you'd got to Arson. I don't know about that. That wouldn't matter. That would be fine. Yeah. Anyway, but you might not be able to play it immediately if you bought it. But anyway, I just think it's cool that they exactly what we were talking about. They've pretty much done, and it wasn't expensive.
Cool.
And so that's cool.
But wasn't that what...
When you say not expensive, are we talking like...
It was like 800 points.
Yeah, no, I heard about this. It goes up in price soon.
It does. Yeah, so I got it straight away. I was like, I'm in there. Because I think
it only goes up to 960, which isn't a crazy hike.
Yeah, that's a reasonable price. But I was like, yes, go for it.
Isn't that what they were all going on about, that Call of Duty Elite thing?
That's different though, isn't it?
I don't know, it's still...
There's no charge for Call of Duty Elite. It's basically, do you know when Halo 2 came out and Bungie launched the amazing website at the time that went with it? Yeah. It's that.
It's Bungie stats, but for Call of Duty.
I'm fairly sure it's paid.
No, it's not.
Because everyone's going on about it, how it's costing, how that was the thing that... Oh no, wait, it's because they were... The EA in Battlefield were saying, we don't make you pay for stats.
Yeah.
But I think they'd got it wrong as well.
Yeah, no, it's not a paid-for service.
But there is something to do with Call of Duty that also came out recently that is paid.
That is paid. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. I might have to look into that, make sure we know what's happening.
For now, I think we can safely say that Activision are sticking by what they've told us.
Yeah.
It appears to just be a stat site. There's been no demonstration of Call of Duty Elite as a game in any way, shape, or form.
It's not. Yeah,
right, it's not.
It's not a game, but it's knowing what it is as a service. Is it like Halo Waypoint? Is it like Bungie.net? Is it, Let's
hope it forces Bungie Pro to not exist anymore, because I always thought that was a stupid idea, making you pay for extra storage slots on your Bungie cloud, and the ability to export videos to WMV. It's like, I have to pay for that shit.
Well, the extra slots make sense to have
I
to
don't
pay
want
for.
to pay. No, why?
Because they have to pay for servers to store this shit on.
I doubt most Halo players take up that. These things can't take up much space.
Yeah.
Well, think of like...
I have 6 slots. 6. That's 6 JPEGs, or 6 collections of a few meg of my favourite bits. It's like... It's not an epic amount of space.
Considering the bandwidth they're using to enable you to connect to other users in their matchmaking service.
Presumably, yeah.
It must be reasonable.
Different servers.
Yeah.
And besides, Bungie must be made of money. All the Microsoft,
doesn't mean they want to give it away.
All the Microsoft servers,
It's a shame we didn't hear anything about their clearly awesome game they're creating. The whatever it is, MMOFPS they're doing. That would be so good.
I think bought by Sony and it's just PlanetSide.
See, I don't even know what the
PlanetSide might be Bungie. That'd be sweet.
Actually, yeah.
On console. Freaking hell.
No, not on console.
It will be though.
Yeah, but
it's Bungie.
Don't play PlanetSide on console.
Oh yeah, but Bungie aren't connected to Microsoft anymore, are they? So they could go back to PC.
Yeah, but that's not mass market, is it? Like it was. Even Battlefield 3 is coming out on all the consoles, including the Wii U.
It's going to be better on PC.
Yes, naturally, and that'd be good if it did come out on PC though.
Well, yeah, so I don't think they'd restrict themselves if they didn't want to.
Like Eve and Dust.
Quite nice.
Yeah, I still don't understand that. I know we talked about it.
That game's not going to be that great. I don't think anyone's going to miss out.
I had a thought about it, and I had a discussion with an Eve fan at work. He doesn't get it either. It's just I don't think it's going to work purely because they've they're targeting the wrong bit.
You mean they're trying not to target the people they already targeted?
Yeah.
And that's wrong, because no one else cares about Eve.
It's kind of wrong. I don't know.
I'm sure if they had if in some alternate universe they decided not to make any console versions and just make it a PC game, there would be probably an equal number of people on the forums whining about how they're just trying to take more money off them.
Out of interest, what else did we not see at E3 that you were kind of...
Anything Valve.
Yeah.
Because they weren't there.
Well, yeah, Valve never really do E3, do they?
Yeah, they have done in the past, haven't they?
Yeah. Maybe
They
not
used
so
to
much
do-
recently.
yeah.
When you know again, they haven't released any games.
Not so much.
I suppose they've had their big release of the year.
They used to do awesome videos of Half-Life 2 before that was going to come out. That was all at E3, wasn't it? I seem to remember.
Yeah, those tech demos.
Those great looking videos. And then the source code got leaked and everything went horribly wrong. But they pulled it out.
Maybe that's why they don't do it anymore.
Maybe, I don't know. So, yeah. As Eddie Izzard would say. How much time we got?
A bit.
Half an hour or something.
No, less than that.
Oh, damn. I wanted to fit in the portal thing.
Well, we probably can, because honestly, we're not going to talk about
I
that.
can't remember. It's been a while since I played it, so it's almost like I can't remember what I wanted to talk about now.
Okay. Thanks.
I was going to say that there's not been so much weird shit. I mean, one of the joystick editors was saying that he goes to E3, to enjoy the big titles, but there's always a certain amount of wonderment when he sees some seriously weird shit on the side. And even we've not seen the coverage for it, but there's not really been any of it.
I guess. I don't know.
You know, because it's just as much of an alternative for the Japanese to bring out their crazy.
The Bombcast told a fairly epic story about something weird, but I don't want to just relay their exact story again.
I did see something about Picture to Life or something. I can't remember what it was called. There was some weird little game on the DS that had you putting together like the mechanics of a creature and then filling it out, and then it became sort of like Animal Crossing in 2D or something, but with your own fucked up avatar.
I quite like
Animated.
I don't. What was the fighting game on the Wii U where you could draw little eyebrows on the guy and stuff? That was quite a fun use of the touchscreen on the Wii U.
That was totally random. It's like, oh look, here comes Tekken with
With
angry eyebrows.
crazy shit that you could draw. I mean, that has quite a lot of potential of the Wii U for. I mean, if you imagine Forza, you could draw on the cars literally without having to do it all with sticks. Or Little Big Planet, you could use the touchscreen to create your levels, and it would be on the big screen. That would be quite nice.
Didn't see any new Child of Eden stuff either.
No.
I suppose
that's practically out.
There's probably not much to show, to be honest. 'Cause we all know what it will be.
It's practically going to be released soon, isn't it? I think.
It's a little bit out of the way. It's like a month, 2 or 3 months away, I think.
Really? I thought it was this month.
August? Jesus.
I thought it was like next
I thought
week
it was
or
perhaps July earlier.
No one releases anything in the summer. I mean, that's the problem.
Look it up. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was relatively soon, but not as soon as that.
Yeah.
Summer Arcade is the next thing, because it's like these are pretty much the last releases now happening, and then it's summer.
Yeah, but they've said they haven't really pushed many of the
Release date Xbox 360, Child of Eden, EU, June 17th. So that's in a week.
Oh, really? I'm surprised they didn't push that more.
Get it out of the way before Summer Arcade.
Yeah.
It's out next week. Be ready to buy.
Sort of like, I'm weirdly.
But you can't miss it, unlike Res. Or
That's
whatever.
true.
Not that that's ever come up, so you can't miss that either.
Res HD.
Oh no! Now that's worried me because I was hoping a bit of me was actually hoping it was later.
You've got a backlog.
I don't want to buy a Kinect right now.
Ah.
I want to buy it later in the year when the dashboard drop happens.
Yeah. Oh well, you've got a dilemma now.
Oh, you
Lol.
fuckers! You releasing early, bit bastard.
Can we do the Portal 2 thing? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I'm in space! Thanks for joining us for E3 special. Stop listening now if you don't want any Portal 2 spoilers.
But goddammit, you should have finished
Warning. Right.
Actually, I've made space for this.
Sweet.
What, you actually accidentally made a long recording?
Yeah, we've got 23 minutes.
Cool. Okay. Do you want to start?
I don't know.
What is there to talk about? I started with the field thing, and that might be the last thing to talk about, but
I'm in space.
do you know what I'm talking about?
The field thing.
So the first thing I was saying to Zach was, okay, so hang on, so the original game was in the half...
field.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about now. I was like, a field?
The field at the very end.
The field at the end. So I'm like, okay, so where does this fall in the Half-Life universe is kind of the key thing that everyone wants to know, isn't it?
It falls 99999
years. So we don't know how many years that really is.
So that doesn't matter.
There's some kind of Stack Overflow on their time processor.
So more than 256, because obviously Aperture wouldn't go above 256.
You think they'd have 8-bit time?
They would, definitely, because they'd have invented it in the 50s and not changed it because they ran out of money in the 70s, right? As is evidence.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's solved.
That's
I guess we know.
Some
Proof.
more than 256 years.
So the point is, okay, so the first one...
Although the room looks pretty good for 256 years.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know. Well, considering it hasn't had anyone living in it, really. It's not like you've been walking around in there. You haven't worn away the carpet.
No, but it doesn't look... I suppose it's pretty skanky, but, is it 200 years skanky? I'm not sure.
Well, it depends what kind of skank it's accumulating, because it's sealed in a chamber in this big open... whatever the fuck that storage area is.
Yeah.
Rotting, I suppose.
So, my question is, Portal 1, is that set before or after Half-Life 1? I always thought after, because I thought that, okay, the Combine have destroyed the world, that's why there's no one... Oh, and GLaDOS has killed everyone in Aperture Science. That's why no one's around, except you. So it's kind of post-apocalyptic, except you're the only one there? That's what I always imagined.
Well, it's got to happen...
Yeah, it's probably got to have happened after that because there's no one coming to save you.
But it can't be long after because you've got all those slides and stuff about Black Mesa, so they're obviously.
But then
happening...
those could have been there for however long you want because it's just a projector running in an office.
Yeah,
it's just been plugged in and left on.
Unless this whole facility is on like an island somewhere and GLaDOS killed everyone.
No, but
they
now,
couldn't like do a
now we know
distress
where it
signal.
is. We know where it is because it says
we?
in Portal 2. It's I can't remember what state, but it's in an
Ohio,
Ohio salt mine.
Yeah,
that's what they
mine.
say. Okay, the thing about the salt mine is, I don't care how big your salt mine is, it's not that deep and hugely, massively expansive. I mean, that goes down so low that you would be in the molten core of the bloody
it's only
planet.
like 3,000 feet.
Is it?
Yeah, because you fall down the shaft and there's literal numbers on the wall, and then when you climb back up the elevator, it has...
I'm pretty sure it would start to get warm when you got that far bloody down.
Well, yeah. That's why they have ventilation in mines.
Exactly. I don't know. It just seems so ridiculously huge to have tunnelled out at all, even if you're mining.
Yeah,
salt.
I imagine the original mine wasn't as huge and open as that.
Yeah.
Although then again, because it's a salt...
they started at the bottom.
Because it's a salt mine, one of the ways you mine salt is just to pump water in it and then suck the water back out. So
That's
that can
true.
leave large caverns.
And then get the salt back out of the salt.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe they did it that way, but I always imagined it salt miners in those... Because salt mines are those ones that are so big and open underground that they drive trucks around. Rather than coal mines where the seams are really small or thin. Yeah. But anyway, even so, it's just completely crazy that huge underground space is there, and they started in the 1960s
At the bottom of it.
That doesn't make
That's
any
just
sense. Absolutely crazy. But anyway, what I was saying about the time period is, okay, so say that's around the same time as Half-Life 1 or whatever, and then this is X many years later, and then the problem with the field is, okay, you get to the top at the end, and there's a well-tended agricultural field, which is clearly made by human beings. Now, what's happened? Does that mean that Gordon Freeman, as you say, has defeated the Combine Menace and everyone's fine and making farming again?
And the farmer didn't think to sort out this weird shack in the middle of it.
Yeah, that is a bit weird as well, of course.
Well, that's kind
Although
of...
he probably knows better than to touch it. It's probably some Aperture, there's probably robots that go and beat you up if you try and fuck with their shit.
It'll probably come down to Aperture brought the Combine or something. Like one of their portals opened like they fired it into the sky or something and opened a portal on an alien planet and they fell through and it's like, ooh, invasion.
What, they made the portal to Zen accidentally or
maybe,
something? Yeah. Or maybe that...
But the original portal to Zen was a Half-Life thing, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was researched before Half-Life 1.
It was those green portals from Half-Life that you could go through.
Orbs rather than
old
holes.
things.
Teleporters.
Yeah. Teleporters, yeah. So that's that. So the only clue you've got is that empty dock, which doesn't tell you anything other than the Borealis was at Aperture Science in that facility.
70s.
Yeah, and it was that very facility that it was at, even though it was underground. And there's a ship underground in a dock for no reason, as you were saying. How did it get there? They must have teleported it down there from an actual dock on the sea at sea level, right?
Or could they have built it there?
Yeah.
Why would you build a ship underground in order to teleport it out?
And
why would you build a 3,000-foot shaft to put...
Yeah, none of it makes any sense. So, yeah.
I think it's more likely that they were crazy enough to just teleport a ship in there rather than crazy enough to build a ship. Building stuff isn't the amateur way in that kind of respect.
I don't know, he's going to burn your house down with lemons.
Yeah. So
That was really disappointing. Cave Johnson is not a guy. That just sucks.
But he is a guy. He was a real guy.
No, I know,
not
but
like
I
an
mean,
AI.
because he was a real guy, it's like now there's no way he can ever come back ever again.
Yeah,
I really hope
that is a
that-
shame.
He only appeared in that one bit.
but he can come back because they transferred Caroline into.
Yeah, but they didn't transfer him because he died too soon.
Yeah, but they have so many
Did they?
personality cores with the cake. Maybe one of them is Cave Johnson.
Maybe they did save him. Who knows?
No, but he was like, if I die first,
Yeah.
she has to take my robot.
That's what she said. That's what he said. She has to run the place. But
So
maybe,
he must have died and then they transferred her, because that was the condition of
Or
it.
maybe some
Yeah.
of GLaDOS's tests are, subconsciously to bring him back somehow.
But you never know. Maybe he got scanned and
'Cause they
something went wrong with the process, and it's created an evil robot Cave Johnson.
Well, there
for
could
the
be a
future.
mysterious robot love story in Portal 3.
It doesn't matter because there's not going to be a Portal 3.
No.
And if there is, it's not going to be anything to do with that feature facility.
Yeah, it's true. So, what else can we talk about?
I
Any
wanted
other
to,
questions?
I wanted to mention how I thought it would be better
Do
if
you really
they...
think they're not going to do more?
They might, but
Not
I
for a
don't think
while.
they can tie it back to that story. I
There's-
think that story is tied up.
There's a meme on Reddit that says that Valve can't count to 3. Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Half-Life Episode 1, Half-Life Episode 2, Left 4 Dead 1, Left 4 Dead 2, Portal 1, Portal 2, Team Fortress 1, Team Fortress 2. Oh, we're stuck. We can't get the 3.
Shit, what are we going to do? New IP.
Yeah.
I think one of the other things I wanted to mention was like how I thought it would be better if they'd done the gels in a different order. Because I thought it was weird that the last one was the white gel.
Right.
Because you'd think that, like...
Well, the white gel is the most freeform of the lot, though, is the
Well,
problem.
I mean, yeah, from a gameplay. But in story-wise, it's like... It would have made more sense if that had come first, like they were discovering this convenient thing that they could use to paint portable surfaces everywhere.
Possibly.
Because everywhere else where there is a portable surface that's not in a test chamber, it's just like white paint painted on a wall.
Yeah.
It's like, that should have come first. When they invented the portal gun, they should have been like, well, these portal surfaces we're using are okay, but we need a better one. Let's use moon dust. And then, oh, look, it works.
Yeah.
That would have made more sense, I think, at the start.
But the problem is that white stuff made for some of the hardest puzzles.
Yeah.
So
Sort of.
in terms of... Well, that's probably the one I got stuck on the longest, was the one with the room of white
Yeah, but
stuff.
that's because that was exactly the problem of it, is that it's not a puzzle as such. I mean, it is a puzzle, but it's not a one solution puzzle, and that's the whole problem with Portal. It's like there's that is like an example of both the extremes in Portal 2, where they should have been going through the middle. It's like the normal puzzles in Portal 2 are too linear. There's like so little places you can shoot portals, but then once you have the freedom to put portals anywhere, it gets too complicated.
Yeah,
And
because
it's like they weren't walking the middle route like they had in Portal 1.
it took me ages to figure out that you had to go between the two towers. Yeah. I must have been there for 10 minutes or something, just spraying the whole place white for no reason.
Yeah.
I knew that if I just sprayed everything white, that wasn't going to get me anywhere, because I knew that Portal was clever enough to have some clever solution, but I just couldn't think what it was.
Well, I could see like that sloping bit is
Yeah,
obvious.
that slopey bit was obvious.
And
So
I was
that-
like, well, maybe I can just like gravitationally accelerate myself somehow.
yeah,
But for ages I didn't see that at the top of that tower there was a platform you could stand on.
yeah, exactly, because you're focusing on that big platform that the
is
angled bit
pointing
points to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no way up there, and there's no way you can get any height for any kind of fall
Yeah.
other than using those towers.
Because I was trying to like re-fling myself through it by like jumping through it and then going like in a loop.
Yeah. The double throw from the original.
Yeah.
You don't really use that much into.
You don't use it at all.
Are they no?
You don't have to. I don't think. You don't think you have to use
Are
it.
they no
like you
double
did before.
throws?
No, I don't think you do go through twice.
I think that's for the consoles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun in the first game, and quite hard to do because I'd always point slightly too
Yeah.
far ahead or yeah, because the new version of that is going through your portal and up, and then replacing the other target, the portal, so that when you
That's
fall
not really
through-
the same thing though, of course.
Yeah, but it's a similar concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the closest you get to repositioning mid-move.
Because now they've got the boost pads or the jump pad things. That's
Yeah.
the thing that gives you momentum,
Yeah.
as in addition to normal falls.
Mm.
Yeah. So the ending was awesome with the moon. That was sweet.
And that was the thing that I was talking about when I couldn't talk about it. Where it was like, I subconsciously just clicked and shot at the moon without thinking about it.
Me
It's
too.
like, oh man, it totally ties into all that moon shit when he was talking about moon, doesn't it?
That was
Yeah,
so
that's the
good.
thing. I got it first time. I didn't have to think about, what the fuck do I do here?
It's just obvious.
Well, yeah, and there's that big glimmer, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's kind of really telegraphed that that's what you need to do.
I discovered the second time around with the developer commentary that you get a lot of Wheatley kind of talking about
Yeah, if you don't.
your stupid human moon or something like that. He kind of hints very heavily. And also the last commentary node, which I had trouble hitting because it's right next to all the explosives that Wheatley, you can actually shoot it through the grate. You can, well, not shoot it, activate it through the grate, but I didn't realise, so I was trying to get close to it and press it, and I missed it the first time. I was really annoyed. Anyway, but it says that, because I was talking to you about how I was talking to you because we were playing the co-op, Rob, and I was shooting the portal and looking how fast does the portal gun actually fire the portal projectile, and I was thinking, oh, okay, so the thing seems to move slowly, but the portal appears instantly, but it can't move faster than light because of the laws of physics. Not the portal obeys the laws of physics, but yeah. Anyway, so presumably if you shoot at the moon, it should take 1.7 seconds before the portal appears, and and it doesn't. It just goes ding. Whereas the developer commentary says, yeah, we know it should have taken 1.7 seconds, and we wanted to do that, but when we play tested it,
I don't think it does. Confusing. I don't think it doesn't not take that long.
Well, no, they go to slow mo.
Well, yeah, but even if it wasn't slow motion, I don't think it would. Just to go ding and then have the portal appear.
But you could shoot at it and then think, oh, nothing's happened, and look around, and then you'd be
for
confused.
1 second.
Yeah, nearly 2 seconds.
That might be enough to fire a different portal somewhere else and cancel it out.
Exactly. So
I don't know. Can you refire while the projectile is still in the air?
Well, you don't know because no other time are you firing.
You don't know.
The game, isn't it?
And no other time are you firing off over such a large distance that the speed of light would actually matter.
Yeah, so they could have just made it lock it.
Whereas
it's basically a sequence anyway.
Yeah. If you were firing a portal to Zen, you'd have to aim very accurately, and it would take years until it appeared.
Or
maybe that's why they didn't know what the fuck was going on when it happened. It's like just portal open. If that's the theory, like the aperture just go, oh shit, aliens! Where the fuck did they come from? It's like, do you remember that experiment we did?
That also explains why all the test chambers are underground.
yeah, maybe.
Because if you accidentally fired a portal that didn't hit anything, it just went into space and missed the moon.
Yeah, you'd be in real
hundreds
trouble.
of years later, oh shit!
You'd be in real trouble.
Well, yeah, suddenly get a vacuum portal appear in the middle of your facility. Oh shit! Or they'd have to build a special chamber and put the other portal in there just for the one day when the vacuum happens.
Yeah, assuming that it locks the portal gun so it can't recreate that portal whilst it's in transit.
Yeah. Or and even if it did, they'd have to build a special chamber around that tiny bit of land somehow. What happens if does portal ever investigate the possibility of what happens if you make a portal on a moving object?
They just disappear, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
If you're on a portal, if you've got a portal on the surface that moves,
and it
just fizzles.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to, you'd have to be incredibly careful then while building the thing, otherwise you'd... Oh, no, that's just it, wouldn't you? You could, if they were in that scenario where they fired a portal into deep space and it's like, oh fuck, what's going to happen here? They could just move the other portal slightly, and it's like, oh,
but it's not the matter of the other portal that's the problem. It's that portal that's travelling through space has basically disabled this portal gun.
Yeah, but they could like collapse the other portal before it reached, and then there'd be no.
There wouldn't be any problem. You'd just have this portal gun here, which would just have like a sticky note on it that says, "Do not ever open the other portal."
We could like just destroy it.
Or can you?
The trouble is that none of that would work because motion is all relative. There's no such thing as stationary. I mean, you may think that looks stationary, that wall or whatever, but obviously it's spinning round the sun at millions of miles an hour. And also the Earth is rotating, so it's also spinning laterally.
Oh, there was another
it might have been something to do with the relativity of the two portals, though. That might be something key to the science of it.
Or the relative speeds of them.
Yeah, maybe.
Science! And that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. I remembered another thing that was weird about that field at the end.
Yeah.
When you go up there into this field and it's like wheat or
yeah.
It's generic yellow
grain
stalks.
Yeah. It's grain. Thing. It's American farmland. What's it called? The dust.
Yeah,
the bread basket of America. Yeah.
So you see that, but then early in the game, when you're going through the broken chest chambers that have collapsed roofs, That is clearly not gone.
No, it's green. I thought the first time I saw that potato growing out.
I thought, yeah, it's potato.
I thought there'd be potatoes everywhere.
And then I assumed when you got up to the top, it'd be a potato field because because
All
it
the
wouldn't
potato
have been
references.
agriculture, so potatoes would have just
would have just
overtaken
grown. Yeah, but no, it's clearly
Unless we're
not.
some distance from the potato town. There's probably other things farmed in that area.
Maybe.
If it's a farming town. Also, is it possible for that kind of wheat to grow naturally? For instance, if there was like
Not like that.
Not without
It
any
looked
wheat
very
in it.
managed. It
Well, I was
looked
about
very
to say, if
managed.
it was like a apocalyptic event happened that for some reason left the shack still standing but trashed the rest of the land, apart from like a single wheat plant somewhere.
It would not look like that.
There
I
would
think
be
it's
wheat-
possible.
There'd be other plants within it, if you're considering hundreds of years.
That was all evenly planted. I know you only see it for a few seconds, but it's evenly planted, all the same height and in rows. I think you could almost see.
I don't know about rows, but definitely it's like no other plants in there at all.
Yeah, no mix like you find in nature.
Well, unless it is still in combine land, and this is just the combine farm.
The combine don't grow food though. On Earth.
I tell you what would be cool if they had combines. Now that would be awesome.
Combine.
I got a brand new combine harvester.
Combine harvester.
It's my combine harvester.
Although, of course, we don't actually know what the fuck the combine do for nutrition.
No.
Well, apparently, judging by the human stalkers, they have virtually all their internal organs removed anyway, so it must be intravenous somehow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't even know what the normal population eat in Half-Life 2, do we? Or
No.
presumably rations that from some farms. I mean, because they can't reproduce.
But they
because the suppression field.
draining the seas, so it's like there's
That's true.
It's fucked up the environment.
Yeah, because the sea level's very low, and you can see that's not even talked about. It's just implied by the level design, isn't it? Like you can see that the water level is lowered, but they never talk about it, do they?
I don't know. I think probably one of the civilians mentions it when they're going on about like this breeding suppression field and stuff.
Yeah. We don't know much more than we did going into Portal 2, though, do we? Let's say.
Well, it doesn't. Portal 2 doesn't have nearly as obvious any links to the Half-Life universe.
Half-Life universe is depressing.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so are some of the best things. The Matrix is quite depressing.
There's an upside to the Matrix.
There's an upside to Half-Life. It's freaking sweet.
Sweet guns.
It's got gravity guns and shit.
But is that you're still in this scenario where you're fucked?
Yeah, but
in
we
the
haven't-
Matrix,
we
No,
haven't-
everything's getting better though. You're winning. The Citadel's been destroyed, and the suppression field has gone down.
It's like you haven't had Half-Life 3. You haven't had the Matrix, the last one, to
Yeah.
wrap it up.
Things are going better.
Apart from the guy dying right at the end of episode 2. I guess that is the ultimate depression of
The problem I have, like, with the comparison to the Matrix there, is that everyone in the Matrix, it's fine. It's not that depressing, they're fine.
Apart from you can randomly be taken over by an agent and just die or something. I don't know what the fuck happens. This is Matrix lore, I guess.
Yeah, but can't be taken over.
But it's mostly fine.
Agents can only become people who haven't been unhooked.
Well, yeah, obviously, but what happens to those people?
Yeah. I don't know.
They turn back, don't they?
Yeah, they do
When
turn
they're
back.
dead, they turn back to the
Well,
body.
we only see that. Presumably they can do that when they're not.
Maybe they just die randomly.
I don't know if they do, because
Aneurysm.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like... I'm not sure...
We're into Matrix lore here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it happens in the Matrix or whether I just got the impression of it, but it seems like they can't jump without dying. Like, they have to kill off that body somehow, even if it's just by suicidal means.
I don't know, but where... No, that can't be right, because otherwise how would they teleport to someone in the first place during new scenes?
By killing whoever they really
They'd have to kill themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That sounds quite dumb. Anyway,
We don't know.
how we do for time?
Face.
FaceTime.
We're pretty much there.
Cool. Shall we start saying goodbye?
Yeah, should we go and fucking eat food? Jesus.
Yeah.
So hungry!
I hope you've enjoyed our E3 coverage, listeners.
mouth!
And our little bit of extra... That'll do us for the Portal 2 spoilers. I can't think of anything else that
Yeah,
I
probably.
really need to talk about.
There's
so-
probably some more in-depth stuff we could go on about forever, but
I'm in
Probably.
space.
But we needed to address those slight issues, so...
you could discuss why the Space Corps orbits around Wheatley.
Yeah,
in space.
Is Wheatley that dense?
Yeah, that's like the
that's,
third joke.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah, but from either one's perspective,
They'd
it's
be
like
orbiting around the other.
It's a binary system, isn't it?
Because the camera's focused on Wheatley, so the space will go around him.
But the more interesting is whether that sort of wafty air coming out of the portal is enough to give him escape velocity from the moon.
Probably.
Because, I mean...
Pretty high velocity. It sucks you out there.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's only a bit of air. I mean, and admittedly, the escape velocity of the moon is very low compared to the Earth, because you only need that tiny rocket on the Apollo landing module to get you off. But even so, that was a rocket, and he was just wafting. And
it's like rocket speed wafting.
Yeah, I think he would have just landed on the moon after a while.
I really wish there was a constant known as the speed of wafting.
Anyway, I doubt that he would have gone into interstellar space. I think he would have just landed back on the moon.
Do we see them some distance from the moon?
Well, you can't see
the moon. You can't see it.
Well, no, so we could be in orbit.
Yeah, it could just be orbiting the moon.
It could just be a bad camera position.
It's virtually inconceivable, an inconceivably tiny chance that he would have got the exact right velocity to orbit the moon.
Yeah, because he would have had to have a lot of lateral velocity in order to orbit, which he wouldn't have had at all. So he would have just gone up and come back down again eventually.
Well, for all I know, he could have just gone a long way, and he hasn't quite escaped it. So he's like, no, I'm moving really slowly back down.
Well, that's the trouble with escape velocity, isn't it? He could theoretically have gone vertically upwards from the moon for like 1 million years, and then just stop and come back.
Yeah, but it depends whether he was pointing towards the Earth. Otherwise, he would have been captured by the Earth's gravity and fallen into the Earth. Or
well, we do know they're in space.
Yeah.
They're in space!
So I think slight technical accuracy to give you quite a comedy ending.
Do you think, will you miss Wheatley?
As much as any other character from that game, because we're never going to see them all again?
Yeah.
He'll be back.
No, he won't.
Okay.
Let's hope we see Space Guy. Or Nolan North.
Well, Nolan North will be back forever.
He'll be back in every game forever.
Wrap it up.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you again next time on the Saladcast.
For normal game talk.
We've got 15 seconds of
for the fuck's sake.
Oh, you've added ending music on top of our ending music.
Yeah, but we've got 10 seconds of buffer, so it's fine.
And gradually progressing towards Mexico, Rob.
And it was E3!
See you next time. Bye. I love you, bye.